Hello and welcome to Recently Watched, the podcast where two jackasses talk about TV shows and movies that they recently watched. My name is Justin Ashley, and joining me is my co-host, ex-sex offender, Kevin Lackner.
Really?
I said ex.
Ex? Yeah.
Yeah, you're no longer...
Not a sex offender?
I'm just fucking with you.
Redo it. You fucker.
And joining me is my co-host, Kevin Lackner. I had to think about
Hi,
that
everybody.
for a second. I was like, what was this guy's name again? Been friends with him for years, but
Yeah.
I briefly forgot your name there. I'm like, this guy, yeah.
Well, it's tricky. You're doing the intro. You're trying to
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was putting
That's
it
what
on.
was.
Yeah.
It's not that you forgot our friendship of
I'd certainly like to forget it sometimes. All right. We know what we're here to do. Last time we spent a large amount of time doing the setup.
Maybe too much time.
Potentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially we went a little too long in how long we were doing the setup for. But, I mean, it's important to establish, where our backgrounds come from on how we view films, where our tastes, our different taste styles.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The basic premise of the fucking show.
That's giving like an episode 0 almost of like, this is the premise. This is
Right.
yeah.
So we didn't get into a ton of actual content.
No,
we
yeah.
didn't. Well, I mean, we reviewed 4 movies. We discussed 4 movies.
Yeah, vampires, grumpy old men.
Grumpier old men,
men.
and Out to Sea.
Yeah.
Yes. May I get to my first pick?
Let's get into it.
All right.
Justin, what have you recently watched?
I recently watched The Birdcage.
I have no idea what that is.
No idea what this is. Maybe if I bring up the poster, you kind of recognize this.
Sure.
So,
the Birdcage. Is it a show or a movie?
Yeah, I was curious what you thought this one might be. Is this? No. It is a movie.
Okay,
it is a movie.
I would guess movie, but
you've never even heard of anything like this. This doesn't ring a bell at all.
No, I've never heard of this.
Okay, so The Birdcage. Here it is, right here.
1996.
This is a comedy movie from 96. 1996 comedy starring Nathan Lane and Robin Williams.
Oh, Robin Williams.
So you have no idea what this is?
No.
Okay. So basic premise is...
Gene Hackman, too?
Gene Hackman as well. Yeah.
Okay.
You're cheating and look at the IMDb.
Yeah.
Here, let me just close that IMDb so you have to listen to me talk.
All right.
So basic premise is... Do you know who Nathan Lane is?
Is he the guy who was like the voice of Timon from Lion King?
Yes, that guy. Yeah, he
And
has that very like, oh my God. Like he's very flamboyant, eccentric.
Well, and he's also in Modern Family. Because
I think he guest stars.
Well, he's a side character in Modern Family.
Yeah, he's probably one of the friends of the gay couple.
Yes, I think so.
I don't know if he's actually gay in real life. I'm assuming he is, but
I don't know.
He's one of the, he always plays. He's kind of typecast as that flamboyant gay guy.
I think he's like an interior decorator, or like one of the side character like friends that causes drama and shows up every now and then in Modern Family.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's quite funny in it.
Yeah. Nathan. Everybody loves Nathan Lane. He's very likable. It's hard to hate Nathan Lane. So he generally plays the flamboyant gay character. This is probably the most flamboyant and gay he's ever been in any movie ever.
I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie outside of The Lion King.
Mousetrap?
I don't think I've ever seen Mousetrap.
You never seen Mousetrap? You're a 90s.
Is that a movie based off the board game Mousetrap?
No. Yes.
It's zany action.
Yeah. The tagline was, "It's a crazy contraption." Yeah.
The fun is happening.
The fun is happening. ... Yeah.
No, I've not seen
No,
Mousetrap.
they did not make a movie based on the board game.
Well, they
Mousetrap.
should, God damn it.
Yeah. What would the plot of that be? It would have to be animated.
Not necessarily. It could be like Jumanji.
Oh, fuck off. Well, okay, all right. Okay. So you mean like, so it's kind of the, hold on a second. Let me.
Or it could be like Saw.
Yeah. Right. So we'll get back into pitching our idea for Mousetrap in a second, folks. Okay. Basic premise of The Birdcage. Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are a gay couple.
Okay.
So Robin Williams actually plays a gay man in this movie, which is interesting because I don't think I've ever seen him play that in any other film that I
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. So they're a gay couple. Robin Williams his character is more the straight man of the two, and by straight I don't mean like sexual orientation. I mean like he's just the more he's not playing over the top Robin Williams in this movie.
Oh really? So he's more of like a reserved character.
Yeah, Nathan Lane it's chewing the scenery, and he's being so flamboyant, and he's playing. Have you ever heard the term like a queen?
Yeah.
He's playing like a queen type character in the gay community, which is like a very over the top, flamboyant, like.
Yeah. So that's their dynamic.
So Robin Williams is more, the man of the two of them, and Nathan Lane is more the woman out of the two of them in terms of like, their mannerisms and characteristics. Like that's that dynamic.
Okay.
And the plot is so Robin Williams has a son from a past woman. I'm not 100% sure if it was like a one-night stand or it was like before he had come out of the closet or what, or if his character is bi-curious. I actually think there is some substance to that he might actually be bi. But anyways, he has a son from this woman, from some past relationship.
Yeah.
The son is grown up. The son is like, I think like 20 or something like that, like early 20s. He's like a young man.
Okay.
Robin Williams and Nathan Lane live in Miami, Florida, in like the gayest part of Miami, Florida. Okay. And they have Robin Williams owns a gay bar, which is also like a drag bar, like where drag queens perform.
Yep.
And it's called the Birdcage.
Oh, okay.
Hence the title of the film.
Okay.
Yes. And Robin Williams' son comes into the picture because he's getting married, and he's getting married to a woman whose parents are extremely conservative.
I see. I feel like I've...
So the father is Gene Hackman. So his potential father-in-law is Gene Hackman. So the girl he's trying to marry, her father is Gene Hackman, who is a conservative senator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like a political figure. And the son hasn't told the girlfriend's or whatever, fiance's family about his family. So about the fact that he has like, two gay dads basically.
Yeah.
Because they're hyper conservative and they're all about like moral values and all that shit, right?
Yeah. So that's the crux of the movie is the conflict is like, how are they going to reconcile these two families and come together for a wedding?
Basically, but it's like slapsticky comedy. It's more like that. It's less drama. It's heavily a comedy. A comedy. It's more a slapstick comedy than a drama. And what ends up happening is the son basically asks Robin Williams, his dad, his actual biological dad, if he can pretend to be straight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he wants to hide the fact that he's got two gay dads, even though, so like his Nathan Lane is not his biological father, right? That's just Robin Williams' lover.
So he wants him to show up and pretend to be straight. So then it's all sort of shenanigans.
And he asks, it's shenanigan. And he asks his mom, his biological mom, to pretend to be Robin Williams' wife.
So they're sort of.
So they're pretending that they're basically taking Nathan Lane out of the picture.
So it's a screwball
pretending
comedy.
He doesn't exist. It's definitely a screwball comedy.
Which it sounds very much like a 90s like LGBTQ version of like a Some Like It Hot scenario.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Like,
it's like
Jack Lemmon and whatever are pretending to be pass as women, and then all sort of wacky shenanigans happen.
Yeah,
and this is like, oh, you have to pretend to be straight and like this and that, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's to get back into the plot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing, but the basic crux of it is it's exactly like you're saying. It's like there's an important dinner, and the other family is going to be there. So the fiance, the future wife's family, their conservative family is going to be there. So we got to pull off this ruse that I come from good stock. I come from a normal, a quote unquote normal family.
It's a classic screwball comedy sort of setup of there's some sort of misunderstanding or some like thing that has to be hidden, and then they're like shenanigans ensue from it. I mean, even Robin Williams' Mrs. Doubtfire is a similar.
Yeah, kind
in
of
the
similar.
sense that it's like, oh, I don't want people to find out this thing, but then they find out and like blah blah blah, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So that's the basic premise.
Okay.
And that's the genre. You got it. I liked it.
1996. I feel like
it's
it
good.
could be dated though with like some of the gay like humor. Is it like?
I mean, I think the States is still pretty divided over that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think any of that shit's changed. I mean, in terms of like,
is it like positive?
That might have even got.
Is it towards?
Oh,
like
it has a 100% positive message.
Okay,
100%
that's
positive
what I was,
message.
It's not like a cruel like.
No, not at all. No. And they even get into like drag culture. They get into that as well because Nathan Lane is a drag queen and he performs at the club. He performs at the thing. So one of the shenanigan-y things is, so they try to get rid of Nathan Lane. They try to like.
Yeah.
Basically get him out of the house so he's not going to be around.
Like sequester him.
But they find, because and then they realize that's not really an option. So Nathan Lane has a breakdown once he realizes what's going on. And then he dresses up as a woman, his female, female persona, and then pretends to be the wife. But it's Nathan Lane in drag.
And then he's like messing with them.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's more like Rob Williams and the Son are like, oh my god, what's gonna happen here? It's that kind of shit. It's not a very long movie. I think from what I remember, I think it was like hour 35, maybe hour 40. Like I don't think it was 2 hours. It was kind of got in, did its thing, and then got out.
What were the contemporary reviews at the time? Like, was it popular? I've never heard of it.
I know that I would say this: people who know the movie like the movie. From what it's not a movie you hear about too often. Like you never even heard of it, the Birdcage. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because of the gay content in it. Like if that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's only known within that community or something. But I've heard of it before. I've heard of it from like people who like Rob Williams comedies. And, and Nathan Lane is just so over the top and hilarious in this. Yeah. It's. So positives, Robin Williams delivers a fantastic performance. He's more serious in this movie. Mm-hmm. He's got a very like touching heart-to-heart scene with his son where he's basically like,
I love those. I mean, every good Robin Williams movie has like a absolutely like heartwarming.
And and this one is no exception. The scene is that after his son asks Robin Williams basically to pretend to be straight, Rob Williams gives him this heartfelt speech of like, I will do this for you, but I want you to know how much this hurts me because it took me so long to come out of the closet. I had to pretend for so many years. So what you're doing, what you're asking me to do really hurts me, but I'm going to do that for you because you are my son. I just want you to know the weight of what you're asking. Yeah. It's a very good scene. Yeah, it's a very good scene.
How does it end? Is there like closure with the conservative family, or
basically what it ends on a positive. So spoilers for the Birdcage.
I mean,
spoilers for this 20-something-year-old screwball comedy. You know? What is it? 27 years old. Yeah, 27-year-old comedy. It ends with the ruse falls apart, and they realize Nathan Lane is just in drag, and there's some other stupid side plot where it's like, the Gene Hackman's character, the senator, is like under attack by some other rival politician that's trying to take him down with like some dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's even as simple as like, because it's super conservative. So it's like, oh, this senator was caught in a gay bar, like that kind of shit. So like, there's a subplot of that, and what ends up happening is through a bunch of shenanigan-y shit, Gene Hackman ends up in drag to hide from paparazzi.
Oh, okay.
But he ends up having a good time with the drag queens, and then he sees them as like, oh, these are just like fun people,
Yeah.
These aren't fun, fucking aliens. These are just like fun other people who have a different sexual orientation. So
yeah, it sounds like a good movie. It sounds like
it's very heartfelt. It's very heartfelt. Yeah, it's very heartfelt. It's got a good message. Because you were saying like, oh, is it offensive in terms of its portrayal? Not at all. It's very positive. Yeah, it's very positive. Yeah. I would say the only thing that might be a little on the nose is Nathan Lane is playing like a super over the top, like flamboyant gay guy to the point where it might offend somebody. But I don't think. I don't know. Is Nathan Lane actually gay? Because if he is, then
Yeah.
To me, there's nothing offensive there.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the only portrayal I can think that is a little on the nose. But
so, how did you decide on? How did that get on your list? You were just looking for like 90s comedies, or it was just you saw the poster or something? And
I've heard of it before. I've heard of it before. It was just one of those movies that popped into my head, and I was like, I've never seen this, and I love Ron Williams.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to get to mine more of Ron Williams, and he's very funny in it. Everyone the comedy lands. Everyone's very funny in it. I don't think it's an amazing movie. It's worth a watch for sure.
Yeah.
What other positives can I think of? It's actually shot in, I don't know if it's shot in Miami, but it certainly feels like Miami. So they do a damn good job of capturing that Miami
capture the
Beach.
Actual scene.
Yeah, the Miami Beach vibe.
I don't know how you say no to like watching a movie like that. It's great cast, like fun premise, like short by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
like,
it was kind of short
3 hours
and sweet.
long.
It was
or
good.
Yeah.
The son is a little bland. I don't even remember who that actor was. Oh, I forgot. There's a side character in it that he didn't quite land for me. Hank Azaria plays a gay man in it.
Okay, yeah.
Hank Azaria plays, I think it's Hank Azaria. Let me double check that, folks, because I don't want to just make shit up here. Hank Azaria, yeah. So Hank Azaria is their like gay housekeeper, and he's very over the top as well.
Yeah.
So again, that's the only thing that I could think of. It might be a little offensive in terms of that portrayal is a little stereotyped, but I mean,
has Azaria ever really been
a gay man?
In a movie like
Hank Azaria?
I guess he was in.
He pops up in all kinds of shit.
He was in like Godzilla and Mystery Men.
I think he nearly won an Academy Award for Godzilla, if I recall. What? No, is the cameraman in Godzilla?
As the cameraman in Godzilla.
Yes. Did you not know that Godzilla got nominated for shit? No, I'm just fucking. Motherfucking Godzilla! Nominated for Academy Awards!
No, I just mean, I don't think
as the cameraman from Godzilla, he got nominated. And
I was about to have a stroke when you told me that.
And the nominations for Best Supporting Actor of the 1998. Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lambs. Hank Azaria as the cameraman in Godzilla. I don't know why I said Jodie Foster. They don't mix the sexes in the categories anyways.
But anyway, I just don't think he's had much of a film career. I know he's like a voice actor
He
guy.
usually plays a douchebag.
Oh, okay.
He's usually a douchebag character. He's the douchey boyfriend in America's Sweethearts with Catherine Zeta-Jones and John Cusack. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
He's like a douchebag in that. I don't know what else. I don't know. He usually plays like douchebaggy villainy type roles. Oh, and you're right. Mystery. He's amazing in Mystery Men.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's very good. He's Blue Raja.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gives a very over the top. Yeah, but he's okay. I didn't really care for his character. I'm kind of like, I don't know that they needed him there. He's fine. He's just trying to. It's trying to add little extra comedy to it that I don't know that it needed.
What about these other like we've got Diane West.
Diane West is the senator's wife, I believe. So Gene Hackman's wife.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so I think that's the son, Dan Futterman.
Who directed this movie? That's a good question.
I think it was Joel Schumacher directed this. Same guy who directed Batman Forever. I think he did this about the same time.
Mike Nichols.
It was not Joel Schumacher. I just thought Joel Schumacher because he did like the Batman nipples and the badass and all that shit. Like, Joel Schumacher was trying to tell us something, I think, with those later Batman films. Director of The Graduate.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Mike Nichols, who I do not know anything about, but I will admit I very rarely know directors. I know prominent directors, but I don't know, like, as soon as you go after like the most top tier directors, you go to the next rung. I don't know those guys. I'm really bad with those directors' names. You know, I know the films they did, but I couldn't tell you, like, I couldn't go through their filmographies. But
yeah. So this one gets a recommendation then?
So like, okay, I went over what I did like. Things I didn't like in it. I don't know. It kind of runs out of steam by the end of it. I'm not really a fan of screwball slapsticky comedies. I think they get old very quickly. I think if it weren't for Nathan Lane and Robin Williams, this would be like a 4 or 5 out of 10 film. I think it's brought up to being a 6.5 out of 10 film because of their performances.
So it's elevated by them.
It's elevated by them for sure. Otherwise, I would not recommend watching it if it wasn't for their performances. Okay. If you want to see Nathan Lane and Robin Williams play a gay couple, watch this movie. Yeah. Like that's really what it's worth watching. The plot is just thin as fuck. There's not really much there's not much substance or story to work with. It's just a really funny performance in a screwball comedy from the screwball comedy era of the 90s. Yeah. Is the 90s the decade of the screwball comedy?
No, I'd say it would be like the 40s and 50s.
You think?
Well, that's when it was like the golden era of those movies, yeah.
But I just mean those a lot of those were more like films, no? Or am I just thinking that because they're all black and white, so they seemed more quality?
They're black and whites. But,
right, but I mean like, don't you find the 90s, that whole goofball comedy shit, that's like the...
It came back big, everything.
No, because it's I'm just talking like I'm talking like video store era screwball, goofball comedies. Wouldn't you say it's the 90s?
I guess so, but if you're talking about the actual term, like screwball comedy, like
it started
was created in like
the
but
40s I'm saying the
50s.
Decade that it was probably most prominent.
I still think the 40s and 50s had one probably like every other month.
But they didn't have like movies about dogs that play basketball and like babies on their day out and like, you know, I'm just saying like all that shit. That wasn't really. I think the golden era
is when dogs were playing sports.
Yes, the 90s. Yes, okay. The golden era of goofy comedy movies is the 90s. The 90s reigned supreme in terms of like wacky comedy ideas.
Cool Runnings.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
and a lot of them are good, and this is one of them that's pretty good. Yeah.
Cool.
It's solid. I would just watch it for their performance. It's. I don't think it's amazing, but I would say it's a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's worth a watch. If you love Robin Williams, it's one more Robin Williams movie. It's probably one you've never even been aware of. So it's pretty solid. Yeah,
sounds good.
That's what I got.
Okay, I've only got a few things. Why don't you go with another one?
You want me to do another one?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I've got quite a few I want to talk about. How many do you got? Just a couple?
I've got a movie and a show I really want to.
Movie and a show. Yeah. Okay. I have 20 movies and 10 shows. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I do have several movies and several TV shows. Okay, so we did the Birdcage. Okay, I'm curious if you've ever heard of this movie. Don't look at the screen for a second.
All right.
Breaking Away? Breaking Away. It's a movie from the 70s. Curious if you've ever heard of this.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Okay.
So.
It is right here. That you don't reckon? Never heard of this?
The movie that tells you exactly what you can do with your high school diploma.
So
no,
roll it up into a doob and smoke it. Okay, so Breaking Away is a movie from 76, I believe, 1976. Let me confirm that. 1979. So.
The golden era.
It's from the 70s. Your favorite decade. That's your favorite decade, right?
I think late 70s into early 80s is like.
No, you only get to, you only get to pick one. You don't get to you don't get to cheat and be like, I pick mid 70s to late 80s. No, it's 70s or 80s.
75 to 85.
No, it's 70 or 80. Pick, damn it.
75 to 85. That's what I pick.
I think you would pick the 70s.
I don't know. I'm not making that judgment call right
Fine.
now.
Okay, so Breaking Away, basic plot is it's set in a small town in America. It's like, I don't want to say it's a rural town. It's just kind of like a basic town. It's not a city, but it's like a university town.
Okay.
So it's a lot of young people in the town, and it's a coming of age. I'll call it a dramedy. It's part comedy, but honestly very heavy on the drama. It's probably more drama.
Is it the current time? Like, is it 1979 in the movie?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, it's not like in the 50s or something
like
that?
No, it's during the current time. And the basic plot follows 4 high school kids who just graduated, So they're like 19 and they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives. They're 18
Sounds
or
like
19.
American Graffiti or
A million
Dazed and
movies like it.
Confused.
Yeah, a million movies like it. There's tons. It's a coming of age movie. It's a coming of age film. It's that genre, right?
Yeah.
So they're in this small basic town and they're trying to figure out, what they want to do with their life. And the town, it is a university college, university town.
Yeah.
But it's very split in terms of its class system. So there's the more wealthier parts of the community, and they tend to be the university kids. So the university culture, they're like, the preps.
Yeah.
So there's like the preps, and then there's the working class, because this is I don't know the exact term, but someone that would work like a quarry, like someone who like literally mines and refines like stone, essentially, like, so there's a quarry in this town, and that's a big, like you ever heard of like mining towns?
Yeah.
So it's not a mining town, but it's like processing and refining rocks. So it's similar to like a mining. I don't think you would call it that.
Sort of the same thing, but in terms of blue collar work.
Yeah, it's stone cutting. It's stone cutting. It's like, so it's the guys that would like basically mine out quarries.
Yeah.
For like minerals and things like that to actually use that like to use the stone in buildings and structures and things like that. So that's a large portion of this town is they work at the quarry. They work in that line of work. So it's very blue collar work. So the town's got a divided class system in that sense. And the boys are debating, do they want to do like many of their parents did and become cutters? Because that's the term that's the local term they use.
Okay.
They call them cutters.
Like stone cutting?
Stone cutting, exactly. So they're cutters, and that's kind of like it's a colloquial, it's like a slang term, that the community uses for the people that get into that line of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do they want to do that like many of their parents did and still do? Or do they want to try to get into university and get into post-secondary and go for something different? And the drama of the film is they end up getting into a rivalry with another group of the prep boys from the university.
Okay.
So they kind of cross the line a little bit, and the two sides end up getting a little bit of a rivalry. So you've got the blue collar guys versus the preppy, the cutters versus the whatever they're called in the film, the preps. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the basic outline of the film. There's a lot of other little subplots and things. It mostly centers around one of the boys, who, as far as I know, none of the actors are hugely named in this movie. Let me bring this up because sometimes when I make these statements, the only one I know you're gonna know is Jackie Earle Haley is in this.
What would I know him from?
He's Rorschach in the Watchmen movie.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rorschach. Jackie Earle Haley is.
He'd be young in this.
He's up like I didn't even know it was him until afterwards when I looked up the IMDb. I was like, that was Jackie Earle Haley?
Oh, Dennis Quaid. Okay.
Okay, I lied. Daniel Stern is in it. Okay, so never mind. All the boys are people.
Yeah.
It's because Daniel Stern's a big actor.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid's a big actor. I would say no one's hugely big name in this film for the most part. It's a smaller movie. It's not a big budget movie. And the main guy of the group, who I think is Dave, I think it's that character, the Dennis Christopher character.
That's who you're following is primarily Dave?
Yeah, primarily him.
Okay.
And he becomes enamored with Italian culture. And
Italian culture?
Italian culture. Yeah. And he starts wanting to, he starts getting into professional cycling, like bicycle racing.
And he wants to travel to Italy. That's his dream kind of thing. Is that what I'm guessing?
The way I interpreted it was, it's kind of like when you're young, you just get into different random things, and it because you haven't seen a lot of the world, it's more like your desire to just see something that's different than what's around you,
something larger or beyond your
So I don't think it's
hometown.
Yes, and so he starts like speaking some Italian and bicycling everywhere and really getting into learning about Italy and the Italian bicycling team, and his father, who's very blue collar conservative guy who owns a car dealership, but he actually used to be a cutter when he was younger.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't like this, that his son's doing this. He doesn't like that his son
wants him to follow the family business and go into either cutting or running the dealership.
He just wants him to do something that makes sense to him. So it's that typical parent being afraid of for their children's future because they don't understand something. You know what I'm saying?
He's formed, the Dave character's formed this goal and this dream of something bigger and beyond
the town. And it scares his father.
Yeah.
And it creates conflict between the two of them. And most of the movie, they butt heads in the scenes that they're in together. Right?
Classic setup.
Yeah, because it's like his father thinks that the son's wasting his time. Meanwhile, the son's just trying to find his own identity.
And that's very much of that.
It's very relatable.
That era in the 70s too.
Yep.
That would be
absolutely
a time of change between generations and things like that.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. So this all comes to a head. The climax of the movie is there's a race gets set up. There's a fight that happens on campus between the cutters and the preps. And in order to squash the beef, so to say, they agree to both take place in a bicycle race. And the bicycle race is what is it called? A relay. It's a relay type bicycle race.
Okay. Yeah.
In a sense, it's a relay bicycle race.
Is it established that the preppy kids are also good cyclists?
I mean, maybe. I don't remember that
or is it
specifically.
Just okay.
I don't specifically remember that.
It culminates in a big relay race to win what? To determine what?
It's not necessarily. I guess you could say to determine who's better or whatever. It's not necessarily for that. It's more just to put the shit to bed. So it's rather than you guys fight and kill each other, why don't you guys have your match in a constructive way,
settling the score.
Settle the score in a constructive race. Settle it on the racetrack. Which is a neat idea for a movie. Races as a final thing to compete is kind of a fun.
It almost
setup.
seems like a cliche at this point of
maybe now, but I don't know about the 79.
I'm not sure at the time, but yeah.
But the way they did it, though, a bicycle race?
It's interesting.
What fucking movies end with a bicycle race? And the way they do it, okay, so I got to set this up. So it's called the Little 500 Bicycle Race, and it's 500 laps around the track, and at any point, you can tag out your team. It's a team of 4, so it's the 4 boys go up against 4 of the preps, and they can tag out at any point. That's a neat fucking setup.
Yeah,
it's cool. That's a simple fucking setup. Yeah,
it sounds fun. Already, though, because this is 79?
79.
I mean, American Graffiti ended in a race.
Yeah,
it ends in a big car race.
Yeah, but but that was short. That's like a drag race. That's like a drag race.
Yeah.
This is different. This is more organized sport.
This has more of the team element.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a good climax.
Okay.
And then the father and son have a really good reconciliation. I'm going to spoil some shit because this movie's fucking 30-some years, 40 years old. 40 years old?
That's fair.
79, 44 years old. It's a bit. So there's a scene with the son. I'm just going to say Dave. I don't really remember, but Dave. So Dave finds out that coincidentally, the Italian bicycle team is staging a race near his community. So he's over the moon. He's excited to do this because this is an opportunity to bike with the Italian team.
Yeah.
And the Italians, which are professional bicyclists, they pull way ahead of everybody else that's participating in the race. But by some miracle, Dave is still able to keep close with them. He's able to keep almost pace with these bicyclists.
With a professional team.
Right.
That's cool.
And they get annoyed, and they stick a tire iron in his bike and make him flip off into the ditch.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And after this, he becomes disillusioned and basically gives up any of his notions about
what a
going
twist.
to Italy, and he goes through this depressive phase, and he's like, you know what, Dad, I'm just going to work with you at the dealership and fuck all these dreams and shit. And the father realizes his mistake of trying to handicap his son from trying things in life. And I think the point, for the longest time, I didn't really understand the point of why they had that scene. But I think it's supposed to represent just life in general. That you try things, and sometimes they're not what you think they are. And sometimes they just don't work out. And sometimes things you just get shit on for no reason.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to roll with those punches. And I think that's the point of that scene, is that
and
he had his heart set on this thing, and it didn't work out. But that's life. It doesn't always just work out, and you got to roll with that.
And it's the father coming to a conclusion and seeing that it's actually worthwhile to get back up on the horse and try new things,
right.
and keep trying and growing as a person, because
it's always worth growing as a person. And actually, at the end of the film, the father starts riding a bike.
Oh, cool!
Just to try it, to open, what is the expression? Open your horizons.
And it's sort of that thing where the father gets what he wants, but realizes that it's actually not.
It's not what he wants.
Not what he wants. He didn't want his son to just be defeated and be like, okay, I'll just do the family business and never have any dreams ever again.
There's a lot of themes of class warfare in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the most prominent theme in the film, is low class versus high class, and low income people versus
breaking through class boundaries and things like that.
Yeah, there's a really powerful scene where the father takes the son onto the university campus, and he says to the son, I was working as a cutter when they were building this university, and I was so proud that the stone that I cut was used in this very campus, but I've never felt comfortable walking this campus.
Oh, wow.
Because he feels like it's not his place.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting moment. That's
I
a very
that.
Powerful idea that somebody worked so hard to be a part of something that got built, and after it got built, the community that built around it, in a sense, excluded the very people that helped build its foundation. It's an interesting idea.
That's great.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and that's a really good scene.
Let me ask you this: do the preppy bicycle kids learn anything or come to any conclusion? Do they cross over? And
I don't think they give them much development.
They're just sort of
I think they're just supposed to be the antagonists. I don't remember. It's been a bit since I watched this.
I was just curious.
We call this show Recently Watched, folks. Recently could be 6 months ago. So, I mean, there's limits to my recollection, but I don't remember that.
I was just curious. It sounds like it's more the focus on the father-son dynamic.
That's the majority of the film. And then the side characters, like Jackie Earle Haley and Dennis Quaid and Daniel Stern's characters, they kind of have their own little mini arcs.
Yeah.
All of them have their own little mini arcs. And it's all just revolves around what they want to do and who they want to be. Because it's a coming-of-age movie.
It sounds pretty good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Did this win awards? Was this
I think it got an Academy Award. It was nominated, I think, for Best Picture, and I think it won for Best Screenplay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's very good. I highly recommend it if you want something uplifting. I'll say this. It is 70s, so it is slow. It is slower. It is a slower movie. I don't want to call it a inspirational sports movie, but it kind of is. You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole bicycling thing. I mean, the idea of breaking away, it's breaking away from the pack.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole,
Gotcha.
That's the title of the movie, right? So it's very much similar to a uplifting sports movie, but I would say it's just enough different that it's not quite that. So if you don't like inspirational sports movies, I think you could still like this movie.
Yeah,
I think you'd still like it.
And you don't need to know about cycling or well,
there's nothing to know. It's just whoever's in first, there's not much to know. They don't get into the technicals. It's not like, all right, we're going to go over the rules of basketball. This is called the jump shot. You don't need any of that shit, It's much more simple. It's like you pedal around the circle.
Yeah.
That's one rotation. Once you go around once. Did you know that? Every time in bicycling, if they go around once, it's called a rotation.
Rotation. Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
and then if you get 5 rotations, I think that's called an opal, and an opal is 10 points.
I think you're making this up.
I'm absolutely making this up.
It's called a ruby?
Yeah. No. A ruby is if you get 50 rotations.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you also know that if you pedal backwards, that counts as a point? Did you know that?
If you go over the finish line, but then pedal backwards and then over again, that actually tricks it and counts as a lap.
That counts as a lap. Yeah. You can actually trick the scorekeepers if they're not paying attention. You can just quickly backpedal and then go forward again.
When they look down and then
they look back up, they're like, oh shit, fuck, that was quick. And he did that in 2 seconds. He did an entire rotation. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's good. If you want something heartfelt and uplifting, give Breaking Away a chance.
Yeah, I might give that a shot. Actually,
I think it's solid. I think it's a good one. Yeah,
nice.
And I'm not a fan of 70s movies for the most part. We should say this because we were talking about decades. My favorite decade of film is the 80s, without a doubt. It is the 80s. I also dabble a little bit in the 90s, but I think the 90s for the most part suck. I think we collectively agree on that.
I don't collectively agree on that. I think
we collectively agree that the 90s suck. And then early 2000s also are pretty dog shit.
I don't know. I mean,
we don't agree on anything on this podcast. No, this is two jackasses who don't agree. But I'm not. You know that I generally don't like pre-1980s movies. Generally,
yeah.
I don't like a lot of 60s and 70s movies.
That's your taste.
I find them too slow for me. I respect them, but I find a lot of them just are way too slow. They had long run times, and they took a long time to tell their stories. I feel like there was a lot of editing that could have been done in that era. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. It's a hot take. Most film critics would say I'm wrong, but
yeah,
you're
wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most complete douchebags would say I'm wrong. Right. The biggest, snobbiest, artsy fartsy douchebags disagree with me. Everybody who is cool and interesting and charismatic, they agree with me. Yeah.
Everyone who's cool likes to hang out.
Yeah. Everyone who is radical likes what I'm
tubular
saying.
Even.
I don't know that I'm tubular. I don't know that I would go that
Wouldn't
far.
go that far.
Yeah. I am outrageous.
Totally outrageous.
Totally outrageous. Totally, yeah. Even totally outrageous, yeah. Since you've only got a couple, do you mind if I do another one here?
Yeah, sure. Hit me with another one. What do you got?
Sneak in another one here. Ooh, let's follow up a 70s movie with another 70s movie. What the fuck is going on? I must have been on drugs watching all this 70s shit. Okay. I watched the original Bad News Bears.
Oh, shit. Cool.
Well, if you can recall from our last episode, I was on a Walter Matthau kick.
Yes, yep.
That was on my list, the original Bad News Bears. Yeah. I'm just going to bring this up right now. Have you ever seen or heard of this?
Never seen it, no. I've heard of it. I mean, it's a very popular...
now, have you seen the
baseball
2005, like the Billy Bob Thornton one?
Maybe.
By chance?
I don't recall. It might have been shown to me when I was like younger.
There it is. Bad News Bears, 1976.
And this has like 1 million sequels. That's one thing I know as well.
Okay, so I'm not going to get into that, but it has some weird sequels, and they made a pilot for a TV show too. They tried to turn it into.
Because I've seen those,
but I don't know a ton about it, so I can't really comment.
It's like Bad News Bears, and then like Bad News Bears goes to like Chicago or something like that, or Bad News Bears travels to here.
No, I think it's Bad News Bears back in training, and then Bad News Bears goes to Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Bad News Bears versus like King Kong or some shit like that. I don't remember. they got the later Bad News Bears got really bizarre. So 1976 Bad News Bears. Okay. Basic plot. Obviously, it stars Walter Matthau.
Yep.
Walter Matthau is a complete scumbag in this movie, and I love him for it.
Awesome.
He was very good at playing lovable. He was also very good at playing slick con man. Okay, I'll say this. He's better at playing the sleazy con man-esque character.
Yeah.
So Walter Matthau is like some ex-pro baseball player. I don't think he was like MLB, but he's some ex-professional baseball player. He gets offered, he's like just a burnt-out drunk loser, and he gets offered money by this like wealthy lawyer who wants the lawyer wants his son to play on this team. And there's some, I don't really remember the subplot here, but the team, which is sorry, not Bad News Bears. I think it's just the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, it might have been the Bad News Bears now I think about it, but whatever. But the Bears, they're like an expansion team to the league, and it's like all of the other teams don't want the expansion team because the teams are very elitist.
Oh, okay.
And like the expansion team, I could be wrong on this. I could be misremembering, but I think it's like it's for the lower income, like less privileged neighborhoods. That's why, like, so it's like
by a class thing again.
Yeah, very similar. It's like by law, every district is supposed to have a team. So this lawyer is like, no, you guys have to allow this team to exist, even though you don't want to play. You don't want to let these underprivileged kids play. You have to by law, and so he forces the issue. There's a lawsuit. The team gets made, and then now the lawyer's son gets to play on the team. And then he hires Walter Matthau, who was an ex-pro baseball player, to, whip them into shape.
As like the pro or former pro coach.
Right.
That's gonna
and
come
Walter
in.
Matthau plays the like schlubby, always drinking a beer, always smoking a cigar, like just sleazy, doesn't give a shit about anything character. And
he comes in and
he's washed up.
He's incredibly cynical, probably.
Right,
and he's like, I don't care. I don't give a shit about it.
He literally is just like, give me my paycheck. And then and he does like the bare minimum. And then he realizes the kids are effectively hopeless at the game. They're all like just god awful. But he sees that they genuinely are trying.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up bringing in 2 ringer kids. So he brings in this young girl that he knew from one of his past relationships, and she's like a pro pitcher. And she's on the poster. That's that girl right there. I think that's her name, Tatum O'Neal. I think Tatum O'Neal actually won.
Oh, yeah. Is that
I think
the
she won
daughter of Ryan O'Neal, or the famous actor? Can you look that up? Was she in Paper Moon?
Okay, let me look this up, because I think Tatum O'Neal like won an Oscar or some shit. She won she was the youngest person ever to win an Academy Award for Paper Moon.
Yeah. That's a very good movie.
Co-starring Ryan O'Neal.
Yeah, so she's the daughter. It was a father-daughter duo in Paper Moon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, apparently they are estranged now, and like Ryan O'Neal was like a jerk, and they have like a very bitter like relationship. But at the time,
that's also cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that as much as I like the other stuff you're telling me.
Tragic, horrible childhoods. Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
No, but yeah. Paper Moon,
she got the Oscar, didn't she?
I actually watched Paper Moon this past year, and it's incredible. You should put it on your list.
I probably won't.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm seeing here, it's like, it's shot in black and white.
It's a road comedy.
1973.
Ryan O'Neal plays like a scammer, so he goes around the country during the Great Depression.
Okay, all right, you got me.
And he's grifting.
Say
people.
No more.
Yeah,
grifter. I'm in. Anything with a grifter or a con man.
She learns how to be like a little like con girl,
right?
And helps him in his scams to get money.
All right, I'll add it to my fucking list.
Yeah,
I'll add it to my list. Right
very,
now.
very good movie.
No, that sounds like something I would actually like, because I like anything with like a grifter type character.
Oh yeah,
con man
he's like
character.
He's a con man
fun.
that travels around stealing money.
Sorry, I'm pausing the podcast now to add this to my list.
But that makes me want to watch Bad News Bears, because Walter Matthau and her is what that's like.
It's a good. They play a good duo. They have so of all the children in the movie, she gets the most screen time. Hence why she's displayed so prominently on the poster there.
Yeah. So what is the age of the team? Is it like?
I think they're all like 11, maybe 12. Like,
and that's like the cutoff.
Young.
There's no like younger kids or older kids. It's just like,
I don't know. I would just say, to me, they're all just fucking kids.
Yeah.
They're not teenagers. They're not like, like really young.
So it's like public school.
It's like, do you remember like The Big Green, the soccer movie?
No.
Okay, fuck. Do you know the Mighty Ducks?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that age group.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever the fuck. How old were they in the Mighty Ducks? Like 10, 11, 12?
Probably 10.
Right. Yeah, like 10, 11, 12. Right. So it's like, that's like grade 5, grade 6.
Yeah.
For us in Canada here.
Okay.
So Walter Matthau brings in 2 ringer kids. He brings in the girl who's like really good at pitching. And then he brings in this bad boy kid who I think is actually also Jackie Earle Haley. Now that I'm thinking about this. Hold on a
From
sec.
Breaking Away?
Yes, it is. It was Jackie Earle Haley. Okay. Okay, so Jackie Earle Haley's also in this movie. That's fucking random and weird.
Did you just like hit an algorithm that like...
Yeah, it was like, you are going to watch 70s movies and they're going to have a certain set of actors that are always in them. Like,
you watch like one Walter Matthau movie and it like algorithmed you down. And you're like, well, here's another one. And you also watch this movie with this actor, and it's going to have both those actors.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So Jackie Earle Haley, I'm pretty certain is the bad boy character. I could be wrong. It could have been one of the other characters.
So she's a great pitcher. He's probably a great hitter.
He's a great all-around player. He's just great all around.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's a delinquent. So like the team, they don't want him in the league.
Yeah.
So Walter Matthau, I think, has to do a little bit of fighting to get him able to play. But then, so at first the team is just getting annihilated because they're a team of misfits.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'll say is it's the 70s. They use a lot of racial slurs we wouldn't use now, which was very, like, that caught me off guard. I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, the kids are saying it.
Oh, so it's like they're foul-mouthing each other and, like, using, like, slurs.
Right. It's like, fuck, different time, right? So that's it. That's in there. So the initial team of the Bears are just getting destroyed. Because all the other teams are pretty, like, they're all competitive, they're all competent, they play well. Then the 2 ringers come in, and the team starts slowly winning. And what ends up happening is, slowly over the course of the film, Walter Matthau grows a little bit. I won't say he grows a lot. He grows a little bit. It's like the Grinch. His heart goes up like 1. Just 1. No, you know the Grinch's heart went up like 3? Walter Matthau's goes up like just that first rung. It's like just a little bit. He grows a little bit as a character. And he starts to appreciate the team and want to help the team. So he starts caring more. I guess it becomes less of a easy paycheck and more of a I want to actually.
He becomes invested in.
Yeah, I want to help these kids. I want them to have a good time.
He wants to see them succeed.
I want them to enjoy the game of baseball that I obviously so much. Basically, something that used to mean so much to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kids, right? It's their childhood. So he gets more invested, but he's still a scumbag by the end of the movie for the most part.
That's fun though.
It's not a particularly funny movie. In my opinion, I wasn't laughing out loud constantly. I think Walter Matthau carries the movie. I don't think any of the kids individually are particularly funny or interesting.
Okay, so it's not like an out-and-out comedy type thing?
No, it is. It's more like a screwball comedy. I just don't think it's that funny.
It's not like laugh
I don't
out
think
loud,
I don't think the humor's that good, right? I don't think it hits as much. I think other people think this movie's fucking hilarious. I'm saying I don't. I don't think it's super funny.
Okay.
I think it's okay. Walter Matthau's got a lot, like all the humor is usually his scenes, and it's usually him being a dirtbag in front of the kids, and saying off-color remarks and shit, and like treating them like shit.
Yeah.
I think that's most of where the humor comes from. But the kids individually, I didn't find them particularly. It's not like The Sandlot where where you get to know every kid,
you get to know everyone,
and they're all super
memorable.
charming and memorable. Yeah. It's not that. It's not the Mighty Ducks. Like it's not like we get like 80% of the real estate of the film is getting to know all the little quirks of all the different players on the team, and you really get invested in each of these characters. It's not really like that. They're kind of all a little stock, and there's the mouthy kid, the fat kid, the Hispanic kid, the black kid, and I'm saying that literally. I'm not trying to be offensive. That's how they're
literally playing the stereotypical thing of the time.
Of the time, right.
So let me ask you this. Walter Matthau comes in, he starts caring, he starts helping the team win. The ringers come in and start winning games. What is the conclusion to the film? Do they make it to the postseason or whatever? Like, do they make it to the finals?
Most people know this film for this finale because it's got a very, very infamous ending of the movie. So this is spoiling. So if you don't want to know how this movie ends, skip right now.
Okay.
I mean,
you heard it here, folks.
No, but honestly, skip this ending because I think it's a great ending. So they end up doing so well. They end up going again. They go into the finals in the league against the best team in the league.
Ooh.
And they're holding their own in the game. It's getting very close.
But they're the heavy underdogs. They're like, they shouldn't even be here.
They shouldn't, right, absolutely. And the other team, so the Walter Matthau as a coach is like pretty casual for the most part. The other team, though, has the like neurotic, overbearing, controlling parent.
Oh, yeah. The domineering, like, you got to win. You got to do it like this.
Yeah, like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Like, look up. Open your eyes. Like, you know what I mean? Like those parents that yell at they try to coach their kids from sideline.
Yeah.
Well, so the one kid on the other team, his father is the coach. And there's a scene where the coach, the father, smacks the kid when he fucks up.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and it's pretty dark. And it's the 70s, so everybody was like, yeah, that's what you do. You're like, that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. And then everybody took turns hitting this kid. No, but like, it's a poignant scene, and the what happens is
they're like, you hit him at home. You hit him back at home in the privacy of your house, not in public.
No. But it's just like this brutal moment where it's just like what happens is Walter Matthau sees how serious this guy's taking it and the amount of pressure he's putting on this kid to win, and he realizes that kid isn't even having fun anymore. And Matthau realizes that he himself might be doing the same thing.
Oh, okay.
And so what he does is he changes his roster completely. He mixes up the lineup and he lets everybody play. Rather than just keep in the best players to make sure they win the game, Matthau goes, that's not the point of this. The point of this is for these kids to have fun and try their best. And so after seeing that, he lets them all play.
Because was he benching certain kids?
Yeah, he was benching certain kids to try to ensure. So he had the best lineup on the field.
So there were bench warmer kids that were like never getting
and Matthau realized that wasn't right. So he lets them all play, and they all end up having a great time, and they all end up playing. And funny enough, they end up playing really well, even though it's not their best lineup, and they almost win the game, but they lose. But even though they lose, they all celebrate as if they won. And the other team is confused, like, what the fuck? Because the kids were the worst team in the league, and they made it to the finals and played the best team in the league and were able to hold their own against the best team in the league.
And they all played together, and they all
everybody had a good time. So in their mind, they won just as much. They don't care about like who actually won or lost. In their minds, they won the game. And then Walter Matthau hands out beers to all the kids. And,
Jesus.
Yeah, and all the kids start drinking and then shaking up the beer and dousing the rival team.
Oh,
They
okay.
they go off and have like this huge celebration.
The champagne celebration.
Yeah, the champagne celebration.
Thing.
It's
Yeah.
very like funny and over the top. But the message of the movie is like,
oh, that's pure gold. That
it's
sounds
just
great.
have fun.
Yeah.
The message of the movie is don't take it so serious. Have fun, and the larger success is doing your best at something. I think that's what the takeaway is. But I think it's just it's refreshing. It's a refreshing ending. That's the ending scene that everybody remembers. Is like the Bad News Bears lose the final game. They don't win, but they still celebrate like they did win because that is a big victory for that team.
Yeah.
You know, they crawled their way out of being last in the fucking league. So
it sounds like it's reminding me of Rocky. In a sense, right? Because doesn't Rocky lose the fight?
But
he makes it to 10 rounds or something.
He makes it, I think it's 15.
15
He goes the full stretch.
He goes the full fight.
Which nobody's ever done that against Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though
he doesn't get knocked out.
He doesn't technically win.
Yeah, he loses by points. He also doesn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gone the full rounds with Apollo Creed. So the ending of Rocky's the exact same thing where that was a huge victory for him. He shouldn't have even been in that fight, and he shouldn't have even been able to get close to what he was able to do. And that's the message of Rocky, is that do your best and give it 110%, and you who knows what you're capable of. Yeah. So it's about testing your limits, really.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Both,
and Rocky's a beautiful, and so it's a very similar beautiful message. In that
that's
sense.
great.
Yeah.
But
it's good. I think it's like, again, a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's an amazing movie. Oh, I don't think I ranked. Sorry, I have a habit, folks, of doing out of 10 ranks. You'll hear me throw them all the time, but I would say Breaking Away was like a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Bad News Bears is like a 6 out of 10. Yeah,
not bad.
It's not amazing. It's okay. Watch it if you want to watch Walter Matthau being a sleazy like kids baseball coach. Then watch it. Just don't expect something as good as like the Mighty Ducks or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't think it's as good as those movies.
It's not like, is it as good as like Rocky?
Fuck no. Fuck no. No. Rocky has
not like that.
No, Rocky has like a tight script and like it is beautifully like cinematic and no. Rocky is like a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Bad News Bears is like a 6 out of 10. It's good. It's
still fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's worth a watch if you want to watch a 70s slapstick, like, goofy comedy movie.
And that ending seems to have passed on a legacy of like
a lot of people know that ending.
Of that,
if you know Bad News Bears, you know that ending. Now I can't comment on the Billy Bob Thornton one. Did you know that?
I know. Yeah, they did remake it.
Yeah.
I remember, but I don't think I've seen it.
I think the remake also got a sequel.
Well, I was going to ask you then. After watching the original,
do I like the remake better?
Would you go watch the sequels? Would you watch the remake?
No, because I don't give a shit. I don't think there's
you don't think there's enough meat on there?
No, I watched it for fucking Walter Matthau. I didn't watch it because I thought the concept was. Do you know how many movies take this premise of like the ragtag team?
Yeah, that's the underdogs,
the Mighty Ducks, the Big Green, any sports movie from the 90s, Little Giants,
Dodgeball.
Sure, it's you go on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not amazing.
I also
only
don't
watched
know
it for Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau is phenomenal in it.
From what you described,
so he's great.
From what you described, I don't know that I necessarily need to see like Billy Bob Thornton try his version of Walter Matthau.
I don't know what they would update other than maybe take out all the racial shit that you couldn't say now. That's like all I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he would basically just be playing the same shtick.
Which is unfortunate. Keep all that stuff in there, Say those words. I'm just kidding. If anything, the Billy Bob Thornton might be inferior because of that.
If anything, the Billy Bob Thornton one might be even worse.
Yeah, because it's missing all that shit. Yeah. When it comes, it catches you off guard. You just go, oh, shit. It's funny. I want to talk about that for a second. 70s and 80s movies where they just randomly will drop racial slurs.
It's rough.
It's rough. Yeah, and it catches you off guard, and you're just like, fuck, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reflection of that era. So
yeah, it's I guess the way to put it is if any movie now had a character that used that language, we'd immediately go, that's the villain.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You'd go, that's the bad guy.
Or you'd be like, that person is ignorant, they're wrong,
But the only reason they wrote him to say that was so we would go, that's the bad guy. But
I see what you're saying.
But in the 70s and 80s, those racial terms were just commonly used. And I've watched movies where like the police officers that aren't the bad guy, they just drop the N-word. And they're just like,
it's rough.
But they're not the villains. They're just characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I can even think of, like, if we sat here long enough, I bet we could think of hero characters from those films that drop N-words and,
and slurs
and slurs that they shouldn't be saying. Yeah. I'm sure. Like, does Dirty Harry?
I'd probably, if I had to guess off the top of my head. Yeah. But he's a scumbag anti-hero. But I see what you're saying. Like, a lot of characters.
My point is, like, in that era, it was so common that they didn't think of, if someone says this, they're a bad guy. No, because people just said those words,
Yeah.
Now, that would never, like, even when we were growing up in the 90s, if anyone in a movie used a racial slur, they were the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was very clear. By the 90s, we were coming around to, like, there's certain words that people shouldn't be saying. We're not cool with these saying.
I'd also like to point out, like, you're saying that Matthau during the movie is like drinking and smoking around the kids.
Yeah.
That's pretty, like, that
troubling and
how would they do that in the 05 version?
They did.
Is he just like drunk around children all the time? Because
have you seen Bad Santa?
I never watched it. I'm
not a huge Billy Bob Thornton fan, but he's just a drunk degenerate in Bad Santa, right?
Around children, presumably.
Yeah, because that's the same character he's playing in Bad News Bears. I think they came out like a year apart. Hold on a sec. Let me confirm that. Bad News Bears, 2005. I'm pretty certain Bad Santa is 2004. That's at 2003. 2003.
Yeah. So he's just doing the same.
He's doing the same fucking shtick. Yeah. Is Billy Bob Thornton dead now?
No, he's not dead.
That's a shame.
He's quite a good actor. He's actually, like, when he's in serious stuff.
I'm just fucking with you. I know.
But no, like,
I don't like this Billy Bob Thornton where he's just like, I'm a degenerate, I'm a half cut and it's the middle of the day and I'm also Santa Claus.
I'm drinking, smoking around children.
Like I don't like this because he just he got typecast as this for a while. I'm not a huge fan of Billy Bob Thornton in general. I don't know. I saw a really weird movie with him. I think it was called Pushing Tin. You ever heard of that with John Cusack?
No.
It's the one. It's the one where he's an air traffic control guy. Let me see if I just made that up, folks. I don't actually know if that's a real movie.
I think you dreamed that.
No, I swear to God, it's called Pushing Tin. And it's John Cusack and Billy Bob Thornton, 1999. I didn't make it up. And I've seen this movie. Yeah, it's about air traffic controllers. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
the guys in the towers.
This is a stacked cast.
Yeah,
Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton, Cate Blanchett, and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. It's a stupid fucking movie. It's a dumb movie. The plot is John Cusack. Here you're getting a bonus quick review. John Cusack plays like a hotshot air traffic controller, which is like a hotshot air traffic controller. You're okay, cool. Like that.
It's hard to make that seem cool,
right?
Wouldn't you just be sitting at a desk, like answering a phone and like
whatever,
like flipping switches?
So it's one. According to the film, air traffic controllers have one of the highest suicide rates. It's probably true.
It's probably stressful.
True. It's one of the most stressful jobs around.
Yeah.
So anyways, John Cusack's like the hotshot at this one tower. Billy Bob Thornton comes in. He's the new up and coming guy, and Billy Bob Thornton, his whole thing is he's very like zen and like carefree, but
still good at his job, presumably.
He's amazing at his job.
Okay.
Because of it.
Because of it. Yeah, just like go with the flow.
Exactly.
Kind of
so John Cusack's just like fuck this guy. But then because he resents Billy Bob Thornton, he ends up fucking up his own job, and that's basically the plot.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that sound interesting to you?
I mean, I don't know. If it was on, I'd probably watch it.
Yeah, fuck you. Fucking wet dog fart over here of a human being. I mean, I don't know.
Sounds kind of cool.
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know. I know. Is there anything else on? Or like, shut up. Why the fuck do I even ask
Sounds
you?
pretty cool to me.
What are you even doing here? Why the
I like
fuck?
air traffic
Yeah.
controllers.
The theme sounds interesting. And I think like Billy Bob Thornton has like a smoke show of a girlfriend or something.
Well, it's
like,
probably Angelina Jolie or Kate
I
Blanchett.
don't think it is. I don't think it is. It is Angelina Jolie. Okay, so Angelina Jolie was his girlfriend, I guess, in real life and in the movie. He probably like got her a role or some shit.
Maybe.
Who cares? You got a bonus there. Pushington sucks. I give it a 5 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So I guess I will start off with the movie that I'm curious to talk to you about.
Sorry, you're going next?
Yeah. Or is that what you wanted to do?
Don't I do 5 and then you do 1 for every one of my 5?
I don't think we established that.
Sorry, don't I talk the whole time and then you never talk?
I just politely sit here.
Yeah, you're my yes man. Everybody needs a yes man. Who's that guy that like, like
yeah,
on
boss. Like that. Like,
like on talk shows, there's always like the guy that's like the musical accompanist.
oh
guy.
yeah. Or
like
no.
the Conan had the bald guy.
They all have like a little comedic side.
Right.
guy,
That's
right?
like
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. And then he plays like a little ditty.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? Is it something Schaefer? Paul Schaefer? Is that the
Oh
guy?
yeah. Schaefer. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is he?
He's
sidekick
the bald
of?
guy.
Right. And was he Conan's sidekick?
No, I think he was Letterman's sidekick.
Oh, Letterman's sidekick. Right.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you're the man, boss. Like,
everybody
yeah.
needs a Schaefer.
All right.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna do one now. I watched the movie Pearl. Have you seen Pearl?
I have seen X, so this is going to be interesting. So why don't you
Okay.
talk about? Why don't I? Okay, hold on a sec. I don't mean to hijack yours.
Okay.
Why don't I talk about X and then you talk about Pearl?
Well, we can talk. Yeah, we can have a discussion about X because I've seen X as well. I watched
Might
X
as well
when
just
it
talk
came
about
out.
them both.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, all right. Let's start with
Yeah.
X. Go with X.
Okay.
Go because
So-
Pearl is while it takes place before X, it was filmed after X.
It was filmed almost at the same time, I think, or around the same time.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
start with X because we both know it, and
Okay.
then you can tell me what's different about Pearl.
All right. So I watched X when it came out.
Yeah.
I think it was during the pandemic, so it came out on streaming.
Yep.
Or something like that. And that genre type of like horror, like 70s throwback horror movie is probably more up your alley for like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre influenced film.
Why don't you give the basic plot of
But
X?
yeah, the basic plot is that it's a couple young like up and coming porn stars that have like teamed up with the director, and they're trying to film their like ultimate like 70s porno movie
Right.
that is going to make them all famous.
Thinking it's a quick
Yeah.
get rich quick scheme.
Get rich quick. They're going to go shoot this film and all hit it big. And
Yeah,
then,
because porno tapes are becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like, this is the future of entertainment kind of thing. So they rent a
barn.
on a property in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
To shoot this movie, and what happens is they go out in the middle of the boonies and start shooting their porno film, and the couple that owns the land that they're renting the barn from turns out to be like serial killers essentially, or like murderers.
Specifically the wife.
Specifically the wife. Yeah.
the
The
husband basically just.
he kills someone, doesn't he? I think he.
I don't remember him. I think he cleans up. I don't remember him doing a kill. He might have done one kill.
He might have done one.
He's
but
not the main killer.
He's an accomplice.
He's an accomplice. Yeah, that's a good point.
He aids and abets her, and
Right.
she is a serial killer
Right.
who, I guess
What is her motivation?
Well, it reveals that they have been doing this for a while, where they rent out the property, and quite frequently people will come and they'll like murder those people for either thrill kills or whatever. But it establishes that this elderly lady and this elderly couple that runs this farm, she had dreams of being an actress herself,
Right.
and proceeds to start murdering the young porn star actresses out of like jealousy
Of their youth.
of their
basically.
youth.
That's
and
the
beauty.
theme of the movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's age or it's old versus young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of a weird sexualization, but also jealousy of wanting to obtain their youth and stuff,
Yeah.
starts like murdering them in a jealous rage.
That's literally the plot of the movie. Is these
Yeah.
porn stars go to this farm in the middle of nowhere to secretly film a porno. There's 3 porn actresses. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no,
Good.
I think there's 2 actresses and 1 guy. There's a cameraman and his girlfriend.
Yeah, but the girlfriend is Mia Goth's character who ends up starring.
No. She's the main.
No. Mia Goth's the girlfriend. Mia Goth's the girlfriend who decides to own her body and be in a scene in the porno. And the boyfriend tries to control her and tell her no. There's 3 males. There's the black guy.
I'm misremembering. I thought it was Zendaya, because isn't Zendaya in it? And I thought she was the girlfriend who...
Is it Zendaya?
Yeah, I think she decides to...
Let me look this shit up. Did I make all this up, folks? I might have. I don't remember.
Oh, no, it's not Zendaya. It's Jenna Ortega.
Sorry, Jenna Ortega is the girlfriend.
Oh, Kid Cudi was the cameraman? That's weird.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
So there's the director who's like the sleazy director. Then there's his main. He owns a strip club. So there's
that's right.
His strip.
It's been a while. I watched it like 2
So there's
years
his
ago.
stripper. That's like the one like buxom blonde chick.
Yeah.
And then there's Mia Goth. I thought Mia Goth was the girlfriend, but now that I'm thinking about it, you're right.
No, she's like, I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
She's like...
Mia Goth is just one of the porno girls.
Yes.
And then there's Jenna Ortega, who Jenna Ortega is the initially conservative girl, and she is the...
She wants to do a scene.
That comes later. She's the girlfriend of the sound guy.
Yes.
It's the sound guy who's like kind of just a nerdy...
I think
random
that's
dude.
Kid Cudi. He's the sound guy.
No,
Yeah.
Kid Cudi is the big black guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, Kid Cudi Jackson. He's playing the guy that
you're
rails the
right.
girls. Yeah.
Okay. I misremember. I watched it when it came out.
Yeah.
But anyway, X. I would say solid, like in my opinion, like a solid 7 out of 10 throwback like slasher flick.
Yeah.
That mimics the style of 70s like horror films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
It's
Or Motel Hell.
It's
aping.
It's aping that genre.
Yes.
Or that era of the genre. And I thought it was fun.
Yeah. It's the go to a place, meet fucked up people who then hunt you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
And it's also got like the last girl trope of like there's one girl who makes it out alive kind of thing, right? Would you say?
Is Ortega the one that ends up surviving?
No, it's Mia Goth.
It is Mia Goth.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought Ortega died.
Yeah.
I don't
did.
remember how they all died. I agree with you in that it does a good job of aping the style and giving off the vibes and feel of those older films. I didn't like it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it's well made, but I didn't dig it. I found all the characters kind of suck. That's my opinion.
I mean,
So it's like, oh, the final girl's back. And I'm like, okay, but I don't really give a shit about you, so don't really care. And I didn't think the threat of the 2 old people was particularly anything. I mean, it's almost comedic at times.
yeah, that's true.
Like
There's
they're
there's
very
almost
bumbling. They're the old couple. They're so old that like we're talking they're like 70s, late 70s. They're like
80s.
they're
yeah.
hobbling around. So it's very hard to even see them as a threat, to be honest.
There's, I guess, an element of dark comedy to it.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure. Like the old lady. Can we spoil shit?
Oh, yeah.
Can we
I think
spoil
so.
this?
Well,
Potential spoilers.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear this, skip ahead. The old lady basically dies because she fires a shotgun. She fires the
that's
shotgun,
right.
remember?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like the kickback knocks her back like 10 feet and she goes out the fucking
Yeah.
door.
Also, to be clear, the old lady who's the murderer is also played by Mia Goth.
In that
It's a
movie?
dual role. Yeah.
No, in that movie though? Or I know in Pearl, but I'm saying in that movie?
Yes.
It's her in old
It's
age?
her in makeup.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
So
I
it's a
did not
dual
know that.
role.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize till like the credits that it was like.
My problem with it is like for that kind of movie to work, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Leatherface is so much more horrifying and the chainsaw than 2 old fucks that are hobbling around. And then the whole like cannibals of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's like deeply horrifying and unsettling. It gets under your skin. That shit stays with you. The only thing, so I didn't like it as a horror film. I didn't find the characters particularly interesting. I didn't find the villains particularly interesting or scary. I would say the thing I liked about it the most is the theme of the film.
Yeah.
which is we all get old at some point, and you don't know how good you have it until you are old. And I always appreciate that in any movie. And there's that powerful scene where Pearl, like the ancient woman, who literally is like almost skeletal in the movie. It's a little on the nose how grotesque
it's
they
cool
make
that
her look.
she's playing a dual role like that.
Yeah,
That's all
but there's that great scene
makeup.
with her and is it her and Mia Goth?
Yeah, she's
and she
playing
does,
against herself.
and she does the I used to look just like you.
Yeah.
I was pretty just like you, you know, and it's that, yeah. And so I like that. I like that theme. I also like, I think this might be the only movie I saw a scene with really old people fucking. That was interesting. Remember that? They show it.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I
You not
don't
remember this?
I'm sure they did. I mean,
your
it
brain
wasn't
probably tried to
memorable.
block this out. There's a scene with the old guy and Pearl, the old biddy, and the I think it's Mia Goth's character, or it might even be Jenna Ortega's character, is hiding under their bed.
Oh, that's right.
And they start fucking.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's played grotesque, but the sad part of it is it's like, it's just an old couple having sex, but to a young person, that is one of the most horrifying sights ever.
Yeah, so
Like,
they're
it's
playing
almost
on
comedic.
that.
Yeah. But that, to be clear, while it is like just an old woman and an old man, their makeup is done to make them look horrific looking.
Yo, they're very much meant to be scary.
They're goblins. Yeah,
Yeah.
they look like fucking goblins.
I liked I liked it. I obviously enjoyed the movie. I would say it's like I said, for my personal rating, I'd say it's like a 7 out of 10. Enjoyable.
I would agree. I think it's like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I'm pretty close with you. But you obviously liked it enough to watch the sequel, which I didn't.
Yeah.
See, I didn't watch Pearl.
I also, the other final positives I'll say is I really enjoyed the sequence where, because part of it is on this farm, there's a big pond full of alligators. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course.
They go down the lane. And
Yeah, because there's
dock.
the one chick is skinny dipping. And I think it's Jenna Ortega.
That's a great shot.
And the alligator's just slowly following her, and then she just gets up onto the dock in time. It's a great shot.
The alligator just veers
and the
off
alligator just goes last second out of the side.
That was fantastic.
Yeah,
just
that's
an
a great
shot. Like,
yeah, and that's a setup shot because you know that's going to be coming into play later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun, and yeah, just in general enjoyable, but. Whereas that was like, okay, this was a cool movie. Pearl is like fantastic, legitimately amazing movie. And I would say one of the best prequel movies possibly ever to exist, because I don't like prequel movies.
These are bold fucking words. We have talked in length about how much prequel movies can fuck right off.
Yeah. So I don't think prequel movies work.
Have any need to exist. Have any need to exist.
They're very
Let's
difficult to pull
Let's
off.
get there.
Yeah.
Let's go on a side tangent.
Okay.
Why don't prequels work? Without getting into the list of ones we like or don't like, why don't they work?
I mean, you're restrained by
you have to
the pre-established narrative.
Right.
You can't break that.
You can't break was already set up.
Yeah.
So it forces you into a box of you can't do anything that deviates from what has already been set up in the film after. So if a character's alive there, you can't kill them off. So then what stakes are there? There's no fucking stakes because we know who's going to live and die because we know who's alive in the next movie.
And oftentimes you can't have much narrative development or growth for the character.
Right.
Because they have to have that in the main
Their
movie.
personalities have to be what they are in the film, in
Their
the
personalities,
the first film.
They can't like grow and learn something new and have a revelation because they have to still be that person in the other film.
Right.
So like a prequel, you're often just stuck with like fleshing out stuff that is like
of little consequence.
irrelevant, or
you end up creating side characters that don't appear in the main movie and usually exist and die. In said movie.
Yeah.
So they exist to basically pad out a runtime. Prequels fucking suck. I fucking hate prequels. Stop doing goddamn prequels. You want to do a prequel? Do a fucking flashback. Do what Godfather 2 did. Half the movies like
Godfather 2 works because it's like a prequel and a
sequel. Do that.
Yeah, that is like amazing.
Just fucking do that. Yeah.
So outside of Godfather 2, I don't have much high praise to give for any prequels, but except for this movie. I think this movie is fantastic. I think it does a great job of, like, because we don't know that much about the Pearl character. I think that's why it works, is because in X, she's just like an 80-something creepy
bitter old lady
who's murdering people. And you get a sense, you're like, oh, she's like, I used to be like you. And she obviously has
longs for youth.
Yeah, you have that little motive for her killing, but to then flash back to her when she's the age of Mia Goth's Maxine character.
So give me the plot of Pearl.
So Pearl takes place in 1919 or 1920, right after World War I ends.
Yep.
During the pandemic of the Spanish flu.
Okay.
And it was filmed side by side with X because the production of X got sidelined for the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they had extra time, and everything got halted. And the director, Ty West and Mia Goth, sat down and were like, well, we've got all the cameras and stuff, and we have some extra sets and things. Why don't we film and flesh out the backstory for this character? Even if we don't use it,
right?
It'll be provide the backstory for this character's motivations and stuff. That turned into a whole film that they shot with a whole different style and aesthetic from X. So Pearl, whereas X is shot like a sleazy 70s Grindhouse Texas Chainsaw movie, Pearl is shot like an MGM, like Wizard of Oz movie.
Oh, interesting.
From the 30s and 40s.
Cool. That's cool.
So it's like a Technicolor, like,
I know exactly
movie.
what you're
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're describing.
So it has that whole aesthetic of being like a 40s movie. And it takes place during the Spanish flu pandemic after World War I. Pearl is a young woman stuck on a farm during a pandemic, longing for something bigger than herself.
Okay.
Much like Breaking Away, she's stuck as like essentially like a milkmaid working the farm while her young husband is off. He's returning from war, but he's been gone for World War I.
Is it the same husband from X?
Yes.
Oh, it is that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's not the same actor.
No, obviously, because I don't think that actor was a guy in old age makeup. I think that was actually an old man.
I think so. Yeah. So the premise is that her husband is gone off to war. He'll be returning because the war's over, but she spent miserable years like cooped up on this farm, stuck with another like her parents, like her dad and the mother are sort of oppressive conservative figures that domineer her life and tell her like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to be respectful and mind the farm and do your chores, and it's not safe to go out. Like, she gets a little bit of money now and then to go into the town and get supplies, and she's supposed to come right back. And you see that this monotonous, like horrible, like oppressive existence is like wearing on her psyche.
Right.
And it's like a one-man show tour de force because it's just Mia Goth and like a few other characters, and she's just putting on she's just like stealing the whole show and portraying this woman. And right off the bat, you can tell there's something psychologically wrong with her because like right at the start of the film, she's like torturing small animals.
Oh,
things
Jesus
like
Christ.
that.
Okay, so she's a sociopath.
Yeah. So there's already something wrong like there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
or psychopath, whatever.
Is already off the bat, it's like, okay, she's cooped up in a pandemic, trapped, has no like interaction with other people.
You're following
her
a
age.
fucked up
And
person.
Right off the bat, she's taking this anger and this resentment of her situation out on like small animals and things. And it's like, holy fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it goes from there. I don't even want to spoil it because it builds from there into the sort of birth of a monster, of like a horrific, like villainous person.
Yeah.
But
a horror character, basically.
A horror character, but it starts off with
it's like the prequel of a horror character.
She's this damaged woman, this broken soul. And she longs to be like on the big screen or be a dancer. So she's like, and in that MGM Technicolor like film style, she's like practicing.
Is there a musical or dance sequence?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
It's great. That's later in the film. She tries out for a stage play, like a traveling stage production.
Yeah.
and they're looking for young women in small towns to go on the road and do song and dance and tap numbers and things. So she tries out for that. I don't even want to spoil it, but that's basically the setup. And it's phenomenal. I think you should
But
give
see,
it a
here's
shot.
my question, though, because it sounds like you liked the prequel more than you liked the movie, like the first film.
Yeah.
So
It's like leagues better than
so
X.
then my question is, do you even need X? Why don't you just take Pearl on its own?
You probably could. You
Okay,
could watch
so you
Pearl
could.
on its
Yeah,
own.
that's my question. It's like,
It also would work.
because I don't even think you would need X. And again, you talk about why Pearl is good as a prequel, because it's its own fucking thing. It doesn't need the other movie. It doesn't need the movie that comes after it. It works on its own. That's what makes a good prequel, is when
Yeah.
it does its own fucking thing and it doesn't rely on pre-established narrative and plots
Yeah.
in the original.
It very smartly reference it's obvious that if you've seen X, it's like
You're gonna
okay,
catch
you'll
little
catch
things,
little things,
right.
but I don't
But
necessarily
it's not
think-
restrained or handcuffed. It's able to just do its own thing.
I'm trying to think, but I don't truthfully think you would need to see X necessarily to enjoy Pearl.
Right.
And yeah, Mia Goth has these I don't without spoiling it, literally just go watch the movie. It's great. If this thing sounds like it's up your alley, but there's specifically two amazing sequences. There's the dance number that she does for her audition, and then she has this quite literally, I believe it's 10 minutes long, unbroken monologue to one of her best friends, where she has this breakdown, dramatic scene. And it's phenomenal. It's worth watching to get to that as well.
All right.
It's
cool.
a 10-minute long monologue is fucking hard to do, and with that much emotion and
Are
stuff
you going to
going
give
through it.
a rating out of 10?
For a horror movie? It's like an 8.
All right.
8 or 9. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's high up there. I
Wow.
for what it
That's
is.
high.
Yeah, it's very good. It's not like there's tons of crazy action in it or anything. There's not
Doesn't
a whole
necessarily
lot
need
of,
it. It sounds
no.
like it's drama. It doesn't even sound
It's
like it's a horror movie.
It's a horror drama type thing. Yeah, it's very good, and it ends very strong. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I know I'm a little late on it because it's this happened last year.
I talked
Everyone was
about grumpy fucking
Pearl.
old men. What did I just talk about?
Yeah.
2 movies from the fucking 70s. Don't worry about guys. I'm really sorry I'm late to the party on Bad News Bears and Breaking Away. I really hope that you can forgive me. Fuck the people who would have seen that shit and were, the people who were around when Bad News Bears was brand new and shit, in the 70s. Those people are dead, man. No, I'm just kidding.
But anyway, to finish it off, I was just struck by how amazing it was and how it worked so well as both a prequel and just a
As
side
its own
movie.
standalone thing, yeah.
And I'm really excited now to see there's a sequel in the works from
To
they're filming
Pearl or to X?
to X.
Okay.
So Mia Goth, who's her
Survived.
character Maxine, survived the events of X. There's now a movie in production. I think it's done filming, or it might. I don't know.
I'm going to
what's
look this
happening.
up because I
But
don't know if
there's
you're making this up.
There's a trailer out called Maxine with 3 X's, triple X.
Yeah, okay, I have heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the sequel to X, where supposedly Mia Goth's Maxine character travels to Miami or LA or wherever to
Maxine with 3 X's, triple X. And yes, it is a sequel.
so she's going off to become a
Kevin
porn
Bacon
star.
is apparently in it. There you go. That's interesting.
So also from we can assume, since X was a 70s slasher, Pearl was a 40s 50s homage. This will probably be an 80s homage.
Homage to what?
80s slashers, I could assume.
Maybe.
I don't know.
She going to Camp Crystal Lake or what?
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah. There you have it, folks.
Yeah.
That was X and Pearl. All
I'll
right.
throw it back to you.
And throw it back to me. What the fuck do I got? Okay, I got one that
I'm going to take a quick break.
No, get those fucking things. And we're back. You emptied your bladder. How did that go?
It was good.
Out of 10?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
So it was as good as Terminator 2 is what you're saying.
Yes.
You just took a James Cameron level piss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was like full production, squibs were involved, explosions.
As good as the Titanic.
That good.
Yeah.
That's quite the piss, folks. Okay, on to my next pick. This is one I think we've talked about before, but I'm curious actually what you think of this movie. When this came out, this came out when I was in school.
Okay.
And when this came out, I think it won Best Picture that year, the Academies. And there was actually a debate, because I think it came out the same year as Dark Knight, 2008. And I remember there being a debate in our class about this movie and whether or not it deserved to win Best Picture when not a lot of people actually had seen it. And the debate came up that literally the debate was, how come Dark Knight wasn't even considered when Dark Knight was like one of the biggest box office draws that year, and this film ends up winning, but it was a movie that a lot of the general audience hadn't seen.
Okay.
The movie is Slumdog Millionaire. Do you remember Slumdog Millionaire?
I don't think I watched it at the time, but I do remember the hype.
You've seen it, right?
No.
You've never seen Slumdog Millionaire? Okay. Slumdog Millionaire, 2008. I
remember watching that year's Academy Awards, and I watched it win, but
I could be wrong.
I hadn't seen it.
No, it did win, right? It won Best Academy Award, right? Best Picture?
I believe so.
I think it won.
Yeah. I think so. You
Let's
should probably check.
Nope. Let's just assume that our knowledge is right. That's the best way of doing it. Okay. Slumdog.
Yeah. So that's 2008.
Oscar. And the Oscar goes to Best Picture, 2009. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it did win. Yes, it won. Okay, so Slumdog Millionaire, film from 2008, directed by Danny Boyle. Do you know who that is?
Yes, he's a famous British director. Did he
Yes.
do...
He's got the
he
weirdest
did 12 Monkeys? No, that's not him.
that's Terry Gilliam.
That's Gilliam. What did he do? He did 28
28
Days
Days
Later.
Later.
That's right, yeah.
He's got the weird. He did Train Spotting.
Oh, he also did Train
Yeah,
Spotting.
he's got like the
Okay.
weirdest fucking
The
resume.
guy who did Train Spotting
did Slumdog Millionaire and 28 Days Later. He's
Wow.
got a very eccentric resume.
Yeah.
So, Slumdog Millionaire, for anyone that doesn't know, basic plot is it starts off with the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which is very charming because by this point, it's 2008. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I don't even think that show was on the air in North America. You know what I'm saying? But you know how shows other countries will pay for the rights to formats of shows and then put their version of it. So I like that idea. It's like the Indian Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that India is so far behind in their pop culture that they're using a game show that we probably wouldn't have had on the air. It's probably been off the air here for 5 years at that point.
Or just different cultures catch it at different times, right?
Yes, exactly.
That might have exploded in popularity for
maybe
whatever
at that
reason.
time, right?
At that
I know.
Time,
so it's a fun little premise, and I don't even know if there even was an Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Who knows? Like maybe there even wasn't.
Yeah.
But it starts off. There's a young kid. I'll say young adult. I think he's like 19 in the movie, 19, 20. Maybe 21, 22. He's played by Dev Patel.
Oh, shit. Okay.
From Green Knight.
Green Knight.
Knight. Also from The Newsroom. Dev Patel's very good. He's very young in this movie. It's probably like his breakout film. This movie.
It must be like one of his first movies.
So he's the main guy, and he's a contestant on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And he's winning. And he's doing very well, which is suspicious. So suspicious that he ends up getting taken by the police and interrogated because they think he's cheating. And
it's like a multi...
I'll get to it.
No. My question is it a multi show? Like it's like aired multiple times. So if you win a round, you come back and tape like another
right.
You have to proceed through rounds.
Yeah. So in between, so it's episodes. So if you ever watch, you remember the show? Like
I remember watching.
So some people
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but I thought it was all like roughly in the same episode that they would win or lose.
Depends how quickly they did. Depends how well they did.
Okay.
They didn't always. They didn't always have time to fit because some people would get burnt out in fucking 5 minutes. But then other
Yeah.
people would go the distance. It might be two episodes.
And that might stretch over
Right.
multiple episodes. I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the kid ends up stretching it over multiple episodes of the show, and in between the show, he's being interrogated by
'Cause
the
then they're
police
like,
because they're
okay.
like, "How the fuck are you getting this?" Because the big thing in India is their class system, and Dev Patel's character comes from the slums, Slumdog Millionaire, Slumdog, right? So he is like the lowest of their. Is it the caste system or class system? Caste, right?
Yeah. So, but the idea would be he would supposedly not have the education
Any
system
education,
or
yeah.
any
So
education.
he would have no
to-
education.
So how is he like acing?
Right.
like,
How
his
is he
quiz?
getting all these random questions, right?
Okay.
So that's an interesting idea. And that is a really cool device for how they reveal his backstory. So the way they reveal his backstory is as he's being interrogated, they're like, how the fuck could you know the answer to this question? And every time they go through a question, we get a peek into his backstory. And
Ooh.
it flashes back, and you get to see him as a kid, and you get to see how a boy from the slums who literally came from, like, grew up in shit, essentially, grew up from, like, the nothing, the slums, could have this knowledge. And it's really cool. And the idea there is, if you live long enough, you're going to experience a lot of different things. That's how you gain a lot of knowledge. Just because you didn't learn it in a book doesn't necessarily mean you don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
You get exposed to the world enough, you're going to know things, even though you don't know you know them. Does that make sense to you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think so. So
it's
the
life
message,
experience. It's life experience.
the message the movie's conveying is that he's learned all of this information from life experience.
From life experience. Doesn't
Okay.
make him any lesser than anybody else that would have got educated, I guess is one of the central themes of the movie.
Okay, but how would he ace like a calculus question?
Yeah, but those aren't the questions. They're all trivia based.
Oh,
It's all
gotcha.
just
Okay.
random knowledge trivia based, right? It's not that. That's not what they did on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. They were all trivia based.
Okay.
Right. So coincidentally,
So
through
it's like
different
he
key
just
moments in
learned,
his
like,
life, he just happened to have that knowledge, and he recollects and remembers those things, those moments in his life where he happened to know the information that the question was asking. So it'll ask like something about a famous actor, and he's like, and then he has a flashback of a little boy where he, and coincidentally, loved this famous actor and knew the actor's work. So
That's cool.
he knew that answer. And there's other little things.
And it all sort of falls into place, and the idea would be that it's breaking like class barriers, where it's like just
right,
having
absolutely,
that experiences and
absolutely.
skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
There's way
Okay.
more to this fucking movie, though. I'm only giving you, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
That's the basic setup. I would say a third of the movie takes place in the present, 2/3 takes place in the past. The majority of the movie's in the past, from what I remember. So there's 3 stages of the kids' lives. So there's Dev Patel's character, and he has a brother. And they also have a friend who's a girl, who is Dev Patel's love interest. It's like his childhood crush.
Okay.
And there's them as really little kids living in the slums. And then there's them as teenagers. And then there's them as young adults. So him as the young adult, that's the one that's on the show.
Okay. Yeah.
And the setup of him being interrogated is how it slow rolls us his backstory, from like growing up in the slums, escaping the slums, falling in with criminal activity and becoming involved with that, and the criminal element gets its hooks into. It's very dark. It gets into a lot of the fucked up underworld shit that like actual criminal organizations use like slum kids for, because they basically create panhandling rings where they will like round up these kids and then like actually deform them so that they can panhandle better because they're deformed.
God.
Yeah, it's very dark. Yeah, like they blind children so that they're blind because blind kids get more money.
Get more panhandling.
It's fucked.
Wow.
It's very. There's a lot of dark, fucked up shit
Yeah.
in this movie for sure. But it's like the sad thing is like,
So it's rated R, I'm assuming, right?
I think. I don't know. It might
Maybe
be
not.
14A. It might not be. It might be 14A. But it's just got dark, mature themes in it.
Okay.
And it very much so gets into how hard it is to pull yourself from the slums and like how brutal that life is in India. Gives you a very good perspective on that. So Dev Patel and his brother and his childhood crush escape the slums, but in order to escape the slums, they end up getting involved with criminals because that's
probably the only way. Right?
Exactly, because that's one of the only ways to pull yourself up is to go for where the easy money is, and the easy money is with doing crime. So that's stealing and doing jobs for organized criminals. Dev Patel ends up escaping that, but the girl and his brother end up trapped in it. So that Dev Patel ends up just being like literally works at a call center.
Okay.
And that's also how he has some of that information.
I think I can see where this is going.
Yeah, so because he gets information from when he worked at the call center, he remembers certain details from talking to people, which is interesting.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that he has a goal in mind of if he wins this money, he will somehow use it to rescue his crush and his brother and his family members or something.
I think that's part of the implication. They never explicitly say, because at this point he's had a falling out with both his brother and the girl.
Oh.
So he doesn't 100% know. Like, he knows the brother. The brother basically became like an enforcer in this one gang. And then the love interest crush ends up becoming like the, what's the term? Concubine? Is that the word I'm looking for? What's concubine? What does that mean?
Yeah. That's like the...
Let's look up that word. I think I'm using that word right. Concubine.
It's like a mistress?
Yeah, but it's like a kind of against their will. Yes, a woman who lives with a man but has a lower status than his wife or wives. Yeah, a mistress. Okay. Yeah, so it becomes like his concubine. He's basically like using this poor young girl.
Is it one of the gang leaders?
It is the leader. Okay. So the gang leader has this poor young girl, but like the poor young girl is kind of like, trapped. Well, I have a better life. I have a good life. I get all this, like, now I have money and I live in a nice place, and all I got to do is fuck this old man. But it's like, it's very dark, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be in this situation, but she's kind of just normalized it. And
she has security from like the streets, but is like trapped in like still a nightmare situation.
Right, and she doesn't know how to get out of it. Right. And Dev Patel is aware of their situation, but I don't know that he's necessarily planning to use the money to get them out of it, but he wants to get them out of it.
He wants to help them, but it's not like, that's not overtly his goal. It's like, I need to win this money to like save everybody or something.
The script is very good. The acting is very good. I think it's a very ugly movie. It suffers from that early 2000s kind of washed out. There's a lot of yellows and oranges.
There's like sepia.
Yes,
like
there's a lot of like
lenses. And stuff.
There's a lot of that washed out, color graded bullshit in the movie. So I think it's a very ugly movie.
It's like dated already.
I don't think it looks very good personally. I don't think it's a very nice looking film. But the story's really good, and it's solid.
Did you like the ending? You don't need to spoil it because I'd like to see it.
The ending's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the ending's fantastic.
Yeah, don't spoil it because I would like to.
It has a really good ending. And you know how picky I am about endings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a really good ending. It's got a very good ending, got a very heartfelt ending. The Dev Patel, like, honestly, one of the things that is most shocking about the movie is, with the exception of Dev Patel, almost everyone in the movie is like nobody, and they're all fucking good.
They're all like fantastic.
Well, even the kids. These are like random fucking kids. It's like, who the hell are they? And they're all delivering great performances. Yeah. And it's a fun story. Like, it doesn't...
that's a great premise.
The premise works. The premise is excellent. And I remember after I watched it, I was like... Because I was one of the people that bitched. I was like, how can that win Best Picture when nobody's fucking even watched this fucking movie? I was one of those jaded assholes. I was also younger at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember after I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a great film. So it's like, no, it's our fault we didn't watch it. Doesn't mean it wasn't great just because we didn't all watch it, right?
And also the Academy is like, they're not going to nominate like Dark Knight because like especially at that time and even still now, like superhero fare is not like
very rarely does it crack. Very rarely does it deserve to crack too. But it's well made. I just don't think it's a particularly pretty film. I think it's kind of ugly. I don't 100% remember, but I vaguely recalled it using a lot of like slick camera work shit, like a lot of quick cuts and kind of slick editing. But I don't remember that being to its credit. I do think the film drags a bit on the third act. I don't think it's collection worthy for me. I wouldn't own it, but it's definitely worth a watch if you've never seen it. It's a good film.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's a solid like 7 out of 10 for sure. Maybe
that's a good rec.
it's solid 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10. Like it's really well made.
From what you've described, I'd like to give it a chance.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no Dark Knight. To be clear, that's not saying much. All right. I want to give you another quick one.
Sure.
I know you only got one left. How about I give you a TV show that I know you're going to want to talk my ear off about.
All right. You give me a TV show. I'll give you a TV show. And then
I got one more movie.
Okay.
All right. I got a TV show that you're going to want to talk to me about. Because
Okay.
you loved this TV show. I did not.
All right. Let's hear it.
The Terror.
Ooh.
AMC's The Terror. Do you remember this show?
I like this show.
I
yeah.
know. You loved this show.
I thought it was awesome.
I
Yeah, it's
did not
cool.
love this show. I thought it was boring as shit. So this show, The Terror, was brought by AMC. AMC being the premium network that has Walking Dead and Hell on Wheels and a bunch of other shit that no one's probably ever heard of. Like, what is AMC known for, honestly? Other than
Walking Dead?
Yeah, I know, but
guess.
what else? Like, they make other great content. I want to go on a rant here for a second. AMC is one of my favorite premium networks. I've watched a lot of great shit on their network. Other than Walking Dead, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody talk about any of their other shows.
Well, let's see.
Look it up.
I'll look it up.
Look this shit up. So I want to give them credit for 2 shows in particular. Hell on Wheels, which was a fantastic show, and Halt and Catch Fire, which is another fantastic show that I've never heard one person reference other than myself.
Okay, I'm just going to read you some AMC.
Go for it.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, there it is. That's the other one.
Better Call
so
Saul.
the Breaking Bad ones, that's the other big ones. Yeah.
What else do we got?
But they produce a ton of shit, but no one ever talks about their other
The Terror, Hell on Wheels,
Yeah.
Preacher,
Yeah, no one gave a fuck about Preacher.
Halt and Catch Fire.
That was the one I just said. Yeah, I love that show.
They did The Killing. People remember that show?
It's okay. It was okay.
That was a pretty good
The
show.
one with Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah. Scrolling here. Now we're getting into stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're kind of it's unfortunate that AMC isn't known for their variety. They have a fuck ton of variety, and they generally put out really high quality, high production shows. The tangent wasn't to say fuck AMC. It was quite the opposite. I was saying it's a shame that AMC doesn't get more recognition.
Okay.
The Terror, a TV show from AMC, came out in 2018. Do you want to give the plot of this?
Sure.
Because you might be able to give it better than me, because I don't really like this show.
From what I remember, I watched it when it came out. It's the crew of the Terror is the name of the ship.
Well, there's 2 ships. There's 2 ships.
The Terror and
the Ephemeral or something.
Prometheus or something like that. It's like some
So they're British
Greek
naval
god name,
ships.
yeah.
They're British naval ships.
and
it takes
they're-
place in the 1800s.
Yeah, they're trying to find the Northwest Passage.
Right.
I believe. Yeah.
They're trying to find a Northwest Passage through Antarctica.
Yep.
through
Which
the
is
Arctic
based on
Circle.
real life. That's what actually happened.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
all based on an actual thing that happened.
Yeah. So
Right.
they thought that they could find a passage through over top of Canada
Right.
through the Northwest Passage to make it to India, China.
So this
for
is
trading.
1800s naval exploration, British Navy trying to go through the Antarctic or the Arctic Circle,
Mhm.
where they have no business of going through with the technology they had at the time.
Yeah.
And
And there's a real life story of the ships
of this very
attempting this,
ship.
getting blocked in the ice, and then
frozen in the ice.
the British government and Canadian governments tried to find those ships for decades.
Right. And
And,
this is a period piece,
Yep.
and it is also a historical piece.
Yeah.
Because this is actual history. So it's part biographical, biopic in a sense.
The most well-known thing about the that those ships that got lost was that they were found later. I think in the 80s or 90s was when, or maybe the 70s.
Okay.
They were eventually discovered the ships. They
Yeah.
found them from flying helicopters out there or whatever. And when they found parts of the ships and parts of the leftover belongings and crew members and bones and things. They tested them for lead poisoning, because at the time they sealed all their food in like lead cans.
Yeah.
And there was a common belief that had like started to make the people go crazy. I'm not sure if the science is still like backing that, or whether that's like
no, it's still cool.
Yeah, it's still cool. It's a fascinating like thing. When I grew up, that I remember like my parents, a lot of people talking about that. They were like, "Oh, it might have been like the lead in the cans that like made them go insane, and they might have taken the wrong course like over the months and months of the trip, might have caused them to veer off course and then start to like potentially cannibalize each other or go nuts." Like,
yeah.
So it's like a great premise. It's a great setup for a horror mystery show, because just the idea of like all these human beings trapped on a wooden ship sailing through the Arctic in mysterious like unknown lands with potentially tainted food, and they all start to lose supplies and potentially go insane. That's like a really great premise.
I agree with you. And the production level is incredible. Like, you feel like you're on ships from the fucking 1800s.
Oh yeah.
The sets are incredible. The set designs are incredible. The costume designs are incredible.
The acting is incredible.
The acting is incredible, although I can't think of anyone of note in it.
Well, the main guy is great. I can't remember his name, but he's in Mad Men as the British.
That's cool. I just remember the acting was all good pretty much from everybody all around.
Oh, yeah.
The production level is typical AMC. AMC doesn't pull punches. It's very well put together.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with the show. To touch back on the plot. So they go on this expedition. They set off from Britain, and there's a little bit of doubt as to whether or not this is achievable. Some people say it is. Some people say it isn't. And correct me if I'm wrong, another ship had already attempted it, and they all died.
Probably.
I believe so. There's like this air of doom hanging over it, where it's like, we don't want to end up like what happened to this last expedition crew, where none of them survived. Right?
Yeah.
So the stakes are very high. And then they set off, and within the first couple episodes, they get frozen in the ice. Exactly what they didn't want to happen.
Yep.
Because at that point, now they're kind of fucked, because either they get lucky and the ship thaws out enough in the spring that they can get out, or they now have to somehow find civilization.
Yeah.
From where they are. Like,
or even if they do, like, there's no guarantee that they wouldn't like get caught again or whatever.
Right, like they're basically fucked at this point.
Oh yeah.
So then it's like 10 episodes, I think, 8 or 10. And the first couple episodes is the expedition. They go off, they get frozen in the ice, and then they come up with a few plans to try to get out of it. None of it works. And then something starts attacking the crew. Yeah. And this is the supernatural element. This is a supernatural show. Yeah. It is not. And this is the part that I think history buffs would probably not like about the show, is the supernatural horror bullshit.
It becomes a supernatural horror.
It does. Yeah. And then it turns into a part cabin fever, part supernatural historical
like monster
thriller.
Mash
monster
almost.
Monster thriller.
Yeah.
Where there's a horrific polar bear that could not possibly. It's like a demonic polar bear that ends.
It's almost like, I think it's like a Wendigo or something.
Well,
like
that's the implication that is that it's some sort of
Native American
spirit creature that's like
taken the form of like a demonic polar
bear that starts fucking them up.
Spoilers.
No, we can spoil this show.
Oh,
because this show sucks.
The show's awesome.
No, this show doesn't suck. It's boring as shit for me.
I loved it.
I'll say this. It is super, super fucking dry. Well, I think you'll agree with me.
Yeah, but
dude, it's 10 hours.
That's the charm.
It's way too
like
long.
You're stuck in cabin fever with these people.
Yeah, I don't want to be stuck with them. I want. You know what this movie needed? If it was, I'm saying movie. It should have been a movie. If this was a 2-hour movie and they made the characters just a little bit more interesting, they tightened everything up, and it was the same stakes, same kind of everything. It would be Alien, but set in the 1800s. I'm sold. That's a cool idea.
Okay.
That's cool.
See, that's actually...
My problem with this is it's 10 hours, and it stretches out shit that doesn't need to be stretched out. That's my problem with it.
So you think by going the prestige TV route, it would have been better suited to...
I think it hurted it. I think it hurt it.
Yeah, I mean... I don't know.
I think it would have worked way better as a tight 2-hour horror period piece set in that time. Same setup, same everything, but you get it. It would force the creators to work faster at establishing the shit they need to establish. Because I mean, do we love Alien? Do we love the characters in Alien? Yeah, we love the characters in Alien. They're all in fucking 20 minutes.
They're able to convey.
They win you over with all those characters. But this show takes like fucking hours to do the same thing. And what I'm saying is I think it would work better if they just condensed it down into an awesome fucking film. This would have been a really cool film. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like the end result of the show, but I've got to agree, like, you would sell me on a 2.5 hour
of this
horror slasher thriller kind of thing.
Just tighten it up. Yeah.
Basically Alien, but in 1800s on a wooden ship.
Same setup, same setting.
And they're not sure if they're losing their minds, and then you could even have the supernatural element come in. Like,
this would have worked, I think, better as a film. That's my opinion.
You might be right. I don't know.
I think it would have worked better as a film.
Don't often agree with you.
I don't think it had enough meat to justify a 10-hour runtime. That's how long this show is. That's a long fucking movie. I don't think there was enough meat on the bone for it. Personally.
Interesting. I
think it could have been tightened up a lot more. I don't have a lot like. That's my major criticism. Other than that, everything else is good. I'm just saying it takes too long to do what it does, and that's why I checked out. Like, I checked out, I think, around episode 4, where I was like, I don't know that I want to watch another 6 hours of this. Because, like, the majority of the runtime is just characters restating situations, getting into long dialogues about, like, what should we do? What shouldn't we do? What should we do? This isn't working. Is this working? And it's like, that goes on and on and on. And then characters get drunk and they just slowly go into diatribes about like life and things like that. And that's most of the episodes. You know, that's how a lot of the episodes turn into that.
I'm not going to disagree. Yeah. I think that's valid. Like,
but that's my like major criticism. I'm not going to fault the acting. I'm not going to fault the plot. It's fucking awesome. That's horrifying. It's horrifying. This situation is fucking horrifying. You know?
I like the idea, the concept of it being like a vengeful Native American spirit.
That's cool too.
That they've like,
that's cool too.
They've like sullied its ground and like they've
well, they've gone to unknown land. They've gone to land that is not theirs. It's interesting. Yeah. It works as like, if you took this and made it into an 1800s Alien, it works. It's like they're trapped in a ship with a creature in a situation they can't get out of.
Yeah.
That totally works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting.
I did not watch the second season.
I was going to ask you if you had. So we should say...
just never got around to it.
I also don't think it sounded interesting, personally.
Completely different setting, characters.
Okay, so we should say, so the Terror Season 1 is exactly what we just talked about. The 1800s Arctic expedition.
Season 2, from my understanding...
Completely fucking different.
Is like World War II in Japan?
It's Japanese World War II, and it's like on an island, and it's about some spirit creature that's preying on the soldiers.
I mean, I'll watch it. I will get around to it, but I ended up watching something else. And I never got
that premise didn't interest me.
Yeah.
I don't like, I hate anything around World War II. Yeah, I don't like any war related things.
You're not a fan of like military war.
I don't like military type stuff. I'm just not a fan of it. I like this because it has nothing. I mean, even it is the Royal Navy, but it's not. They're just exploring. It's not.
I know
it's no different than them being on a spacecraft into outer space. It's the same fucking idea. It's man going where man has not been before, where man was not meant to tread.
In ice, no one can hear you.
Freeze. Actually, they'd hear it because you would not shut up about it.
All right, so that's terrible.
In ice, no one can hear you freeze.
You have to make that poster now.
I don't know that I'm going to do that. What would actually be a good tagline for that? It's like in space, because like
in space, no one can hear you scream. I don't know. In ice, no one can hear you freeze.
But I feel like they would. I don't know that you wouldn't hear that. That's the thing. Like
you probably. I mean,
I don't know I guess if you were sleeping and you froze in your sleep,
no one can see you freeze. Well, people can see you freeze. No one, no one can smell you freeze.
Well, it's like I don't even know if you should go with in ice. Shouldn't it be like in the Arctic? In the Arctic?
No one can hear you go insane slowly.
Well, no, I would say in the Arctic, no one can hear you scream. Because who's going to hear you?
Polar bears.
Right. They ain't coming to help you. So there you go.
All right.
There's my TV show. Now I want to hear your I told you would have just as much to say about that one as I did.
Yeah.
I knew when after I watched that.
I think that's actually a good take. I think sometimes like a 10-hour like show
squish that
could
down.
very well be like a really good movie.
Well, I want to bitch. Okay, I want to rant for a second.
Okay.
Filmmakers, I know we're in the streaming era and the once strict rules you had about runtimes and episode lengths were a major factor for you. And now, because we don't have to worry about blocks of time on television for ads and commercials, you're being given free rein to make episodes as long as you fucking want them to be and make as many episodes as you want, and you're not being forced to edit. Edit your fucking shit. Tighten that stuff up. You're putting way too much shit into episodes now, and you're stretching out content way fucking longer than it needs to be. That's my rant. And you know what I'm talking about? Seriously, all the modern streaming shit now, they're being so self-indulgent with like, well, we shot 10 hours, so we're going to show you all 10 hours. It's
Might
like,
as well use it all.
why don't you take the 10 hours and trim it down to a tight 5? So where it's all the gold. Instead, it's like they throw everything in now because they can. And the screening services will love it because it's like, oh, it's more time. We're going to have people's eyeballs on our screen. Fuck, go for it. You want to make an hour? You want to do episodes that are 50 minutes? Go for it. You want an hour-long episode? Go for it. Like, the runtimes are all out of whack
It's
now
all
on
become
TV
meaningless
shows.
now. There's no actual structured runtimes.
And sometimes it works great. What I'm saying is earn the fucking runtime. Justify the runtime. The content has to justify it. If you're just bloating the content for the sake of having it all there, fuck that. End of rant. Now tell me about your TV show you got here.
All right. So I think I'll cap us off with this one, or unless you have one more movie.
I have one more movie.
Okay,
I have one more movie.
But this is my final one. Have you heard of a show or comic book or whatever called Lastman? It's a French cartoon anime.
This isn't why the
Not Why the Last Man.
That was
no,
my
that's
question.
totally different.
Well, because I think that got adapted into a single season.
Yeah, you're
TV
right. That's
show.
also a comic book that was adapted into a show.
Yeah.
This is supposedly a French comic book series.
And you're not also referring to the comedy with, was it Will Forte who was Last Man on Earth?
That's Last Man on Earth.
Okay.
So there's Why the Last Man on Earth. This is literally just called Last Man. No space.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
Look it up.
Okay. Now, is this a real TV show or is this coming out?
This is out. The first season has been out for a few years, and the second season is either airing right now or just finished recently. So this is a French comic book series that was adapted and crowdfunded into a French like anime style cartoon production.
I'm struggling to find anything on this. So it's a cartoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like an anime. Like it's a cartoon animated
everything
series.
I'm looking up is like
That's it right there. Last Man.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute. I gotta try to get. Yeah, I know, but I can't.
There's very little. It's actually
like
tricky
no
to find
details
information
on this fucking thing.
So you have not heard of this at all?
Fuck no, I've never heard of this.
So, French animated crowdfunded like cartoon adult animation that aired on French Studio 4.
There. Okay. This is it.
That. Yeah. So
okay.
in
got it.
2016.
There it is.
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody on deck, présente.
So it's entirely French, but okay. I'm assuming, I think it was like crowdfunded style, like almost like a Kickstarter style thing that got funding, then aired on, I think France is like England where they have
it said,
BBC.
It said like Channel 4 or something.
Yeah, so they have the BBC style where it's like channel 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Like, so this just aired on Channel 4.
I saw that on there, yep.
I just found it like...
Yeah, how the fuck did you find it?
I think it's on YouTube, and it's on a couple like streaming type sites and things.
Okay.
All uploaded. I believe it is entirely on YouTube for free. I think.
How many seasons did this get? Because I saw it said 2016 to 2022. So this had multiple seasons?
Well, it's only on season 2, but it must have taken a while to produce it.
Well, is this still ongoing?
Yes.
Well, are you sure it's still ongoing and it wasn't canceled? How do you know this?
I mean, from my understanding, it's very hard to find information on it, but I believe the second season is like airing.
Season just came out last year.
Okay, yeah.
Second season just came out last year. Okay, so tell me about the premise.
I don't want to like. I don't know because I haven't seen season 2. So to clarify,
how much have you watched?
I watched all of season 1.
Tell me about Lastman season 1. What the fuck is it?
Lastman season 1. It is. I want to say 26 episodes. It's even hard to find that information. When I watched, I believe it was like 26.
Okay.
The episodes are all 14 to 16 minutes long. They're not the full 24
which I'm
minutes.
not a fan of, but they're
shorter.
Yeah. I was just bitching about episodes being too long, and now I'm going to bitch about episodes being too short. Fill the fucking... It's not a YouTube video. Fill the fucking thing. You know?
Well, you just asked for tight editing.
Yeah, well, I want...
Well, this is tight
well,
editing.
At least fucking give me 20 minutes, not 15. Like, fucking shit. I take shits longer than 15 minutes.
I'm giving you a show. This is exactly what you just asked for.
No, I asked for...
tight, concise editing. No,
I don't
bullshit,
want 15 minutes.
No
I
filler.
Want minimum 20. Minimum 20. That's the standard. You go less than 20, we fucking shoot you in the back of the head. Like a dog in the street. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so Lastman is like I said, it's almost like stylized like an anime, like a Japanese anime, but it also is... It has elements of a style that looks similar to what I would say looks like Venture Bros. You know the show.
Yeah,
Venture
I'm
Bros?
aware. Yeah,
it's like a fusion of
that. It kind of looks like an Adult Swim. Like this looks like 2010 era Adult Swim production. Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Very cool. Really great character design. Really great animation. And it's like a weird hodgepodge of like different influences. It's got a slick 80s like synthesizer like soundtrack with elements of like rock in there. The story is again a mishmash of different things. It's like Bloodsport meets like 80s sci-fi and like horror.
You had me at Bloodsport.
Stuff.
You had me at Bloodsport. Oh, yeah. You know how much I love Bloodsport.
Yeah. So the premise is Richard Aldana is a washed up boxer.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to take place in France. The other thing is because it's French, I couldn't find the original. Like, I don't know how to stream a French show or like find that. So the version I watched was in dub. It was dubbed in English.
That's unfortunate.
The dub was quite good.
Oh, okay.
It was actually very well done.
Oh, that's
shocking. It wasn't like amateurish.
Yeah.
They got like good voice actors. And I say that as someone who doesn't normally like dubs, but it was quite good. So I don't know what it sounds like or what the sub is like. Richard Aldana, washed up like boxer, and he basically hangs out at a local boxing gym run by the guy and the poster that I'm pointing at for Justin here behind him with the orange hair. He was sort of
not the super shady looking guy with his back towards the camera, not the mysterious shadow figure.
No,
that guy doesn't run the gym.
No. So I'm struggling to even describe the plot because it just goes so insane. But it's
a washed up boxer who's trying to get his groove back.
He's in rough with the mob because there's a local mob that's like pressing the boxing gym for money because they're renting out the space to them, and they're like, you got to come up with like the money.
Yeah.
And he's trying to save the gym because his like sort of father figure is the owner of the gym.
Yep.
He's like, oh, we need to get some money and save this gym. This is like your legacy kind of thing. And through the course of that plot, the boxing gym like owner guy, his like pseudo father figure or friend, is murdered, and he initially thinks it's from like the criminals, but then it spirals into this other conspiracy where the show establishes that there is a supernatural element where there's this parallel dimension called the Valley of the Kings.
Okay.
And this character doesn't know any of that, but it sort of like shoots you with a dose of like exposition at the start, where it's like there's this Valley of the Kings where like only gods and like how did I describe that? Okay, it's the Valley of the Kings where like only gods and superior like all powerful beings can travel there. And there's a whole cult and conspiracy around trying to find and access this dimension. And that's what these other shady characters are trying to do. They become involved in the mob. And through him trying to figure out the murder of his friend, he uncovers conspiracies and cultists leading to this supernatural organization that's trying to access a parallel dimension. While all that's going on, he's trying to raise money and save the gym. He also finds out that his friend had a daughter that he had sent off to a private school.
Is that the girl with the blue hair there?
No, that ends up being his love interest.
Oh, okay.
There's a young.
Well, they could be the same girl.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
he ends up meeting a love interest character. That's separate. But he also, there becomes this like daughter figure where he's like rescues this young girl who's also being chased by this cultist group because they believe that she's a key to accessing this like parallel supernatural dimension.
Right.
All this shit is going on. It's very like anime-ish, you know what I mean? It's hard to describe, but it's drip feeding you all this stuff. So while he's trying to save the gym and protect this little girl and do all this stuff, the mobsters come to him and they're like, if you enter into this blood sport style like winner takes all tournament, you can pay off the debts for the gym and win a bunch of money.
Okay.
And that also becomes tied in because there's other elements of the cult group trying to win this Bloodsport tournament. Because
so to be clear, the cult group and the mob are not the same group.
No, they're not the same group. They're just separate entities that cross paths.
They're different antagonists.
Yeah. So this show basically has like Goodfellas style like weird like mobster characters. It has like cultists and like demonic entities. And it has like boxing, like Bloodsport style characters that are teaming up to try to win a championship.
Right.
It all meshes. It doesn't seem like it should work, but holy fuck, does it work? It's
so
really
here's my
cool.
question. How's the animation?
Excellent.
Okay.
Really good.
Really good.
Soundtrack's really good. Animation's really good. Voice acting's good. The plot is really fun and wears its heart on its sleeve and has all kinds of references to like 80s and 90s like action and movies and culture.
Is there anything you didn't like about it? Is it a little too hodgepodgey? Does the plot jump around too much?
No, I think for what it is, it's like very
it too much
charming.
of a breakneck pace or?
Not even. I would say that it's actually refreshing to watch a show that's like 16-minute chunks, and then each episode you're like, I'm fire up the next one. Like I'm in. It does a great job of like establishing itself, setting up a little conflict in each episode that slowly pulls you through each subsequent episode. Because everything I'm describing to you, I know I'm sort of like shotgunning it, but every time something happens where they're like, oh shit, there's actually this like cultist and he's tied to this, it just leads you into the next episode and into the next episode and into the next episode.
How again did you find out about this?
I saw an image of it like scrolling on like Instagram or something like that, or on like, social media. And I'd never seen it before. I saw just a picture of like the main character and or maybe like a little shot of him punching somebody, and I was like, what the hell is this show? And that led to me going down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what it was.
I so wish it had a different name. It's so fucking annoying to try to search this. Anytime I search up anything, it's like Last Man Standing, Last Man on Earth.
There's no point in me trying to describe the plot. Just go watch it if it sounds intriguing. It's honestly great. I'm going to give it a recommendation.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I watched all of season 1, and season 1 segues into, obviously it like ends on being like, oh, there's going to be a season 2 and sets itself up. The season 2 is either like you said,
I couldn't find. I was looking up to see if there was going to be a season 3, and there's like no fucking information on this show.
I don't know. That there's a comic book series that I haven't looked into, and I don't know how long that ran for.
Yeah, like maybe season 2 adapts everything there was for comics. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Season 2, the only thing is, it looks to be a different animation studio as well.
I
So
will add this to my list.
Yeah.
The
So-
Last Man. I'll put
So
it on
I don't
there.
know whether the second season is even the same studio. It might be a different studio that picked up the continuation of it. And I don't know where you'd find it to watch it unless you have it's supposedly on French Netflix. So like
What's Netflix?
well, Netflix is a streaming service.
Who,
This is
who-
the French version of it.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Anyway,
awesome.
If you can find it and if you
So
can
what
watch
you're saying
it,
is it only works a few hours a day and gets lots of vacation?
yes, yeah.
Take that, French culture.
But no, I think you'd enjoy it. I think you should give it a shot.
I
Yeah.
just added to the list, so I'm definitely going to give it a shot.
Slick, like 80s inspired action horror thriller.
I
with
said you had me at
supernatural elements.
Bloodsport.
Oh,
as soon as you were
and
like,
there's a Bloodsport
you
tournament
were like,
where
oh, there's a Bloodsport
Oh, yeah.
tournament. I'm like,
he fights his way
Take
through
my money.
a like
Take my money.
Bloodsport tournament where
Yeah.
every few episodes he has a next match coming up,
and they're all
there's some
eccentric.
eccentric character
Yeah.
that he has to defeat.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
Sold. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds fun.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's
I'll
really
give
cool.
it. I'll give it
Okay,
a shot.
the final
Animation. I'm always way more open to
yeah.
trying, and like you very rarely can go wrong with. Well, I guess you can go wrong with anime, but like
Yeah. Even if you don't like it, the episodes are like 14 minutes or 16
Right.
minutes or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
no harm lost. The final thing I'll say is I just learned like recently that there's Last Man, the comic series. There's Last Man season 1. Supposedly there's a Last Man season 2. And there's a video game adaptation.
I saw that on the wiki. I
Yeah.
saw a video game.
So there's a video game which is called Last Fight.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that. I don't
Okay.
know if that's like the same story or whatever, but I
So
thought that
you're
was
recommending
interesting too.
people start with the video game and then go to the comic and then never watch the show, if I'm hearing you right.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. That's what we're going to do. Right.
All right, so that's Last Man. Yeah, check that out if you
So
can.
you heard it here. Check out Why the Last Man and check out Last Man Standing, the comedic series, which I think season 4 is coming out soon. So everything but just Last Man. If you find something that's just Last Man, that's not what Kevin said to recommend. Kevin recommended either Why the Last Man on Earth, or Last Man Standing.
Yes.
Who was in Last Man Standing? Is that fucking
Uh,
Kevin James? Is that one of those bullshit fucking sitcoms?
I don't know.
I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah,
Billy Joel?
yeah. Is that who sung that song?
Oh no, I don't know.
I'm still standing. Wait, Last Man Oh, I'm wrong. That's fucking... Oh, dude, what? Fuck the show you were recommending. Let's watch this.
What is this?
This is the Tim Allen one. This is... Okay, so... All right, let's go on a rant about Last Man Standing. So...
This is an anime slick action thriller.
This is exactly... No, this is
starring
better.
Tim Allen.
Yes, right.
where he fights in a blood sport
Right.
tournament.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Tim Allen.
As Tim the Tool Man Taylor. And his tools are right here. Those are his tools.
And he has to fight a bloody path to
yes.
victory.
Yeah. And he has to
Yeah.
fight like Al Borland and all that shit. No, Al Borland has gone corrupt. And Al Borland...
He's the mob leader.
Al Borland now
Okay.
runs the mob.
Yeah.
And Wilson, the guy who was always behind the fence, cult leader.
He leads a secret cult
Yeah.
that's trying to find
Yeah.
an
And
alternate
the reason you can't
dimension.
see his face is if he was to like if he actually stood up, he like has like the bottom half of his face is just like a skeleton. So Last Man Standing was after Home Improvement, like
Why are we talking about this?
because I want you to know what this is, because this is the kind of shit you and I don't watch. So I think it's fun to always like look at this and go, this exists,
What-
because
yeah,
we don't
like-
know this.
I don't. You
Okay.
Is this from the 2000s?
Okay, so this is gonna blow your mind. So Last Man Standing, after I think Last Man Standing, I don't know how much longer after Home Improvement, but it was one of those things where it was like Tim Allen hadn't been on TV for a while, right? Because Home Improvement's a 90s show. I think it probably ended early 2000. So it's the exact same fucking setup as Home Improvement, except instead of Tim Allen having 3 boys, he has 3 girls.
You're fucking kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. This is real.
It's the
this
exact
is
same.
real.
He's a tool. He's a.
I don't know that he's a tool man, but I think like I don't know what his job is.
But he's just
no. But it's like okay, married
A father of
three
three.
tries to maintain his manliness in a world increasingly dominated by women. Get it? Last man standing. So it's like that's kind of the theme of the show. Now, it's going to shock you to learn. It has
194 episodes.
It has 9 seasons.
9
seasons this show ran.
I have never heard a single person talk
never
about
count
this.
the tool man out.
I've never heard a single human being ever talk about this show ever. 2021?
2021
It like just ended like 2 years ago?
Dude, this show helped us get through COVID that first year. We needed Last Man Standing to get us through it. 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Maybe it's
Fuck
good.
you. No, it's produced by Fox. It can't be any good. Does Fox have any good comedies? Ooh, hot take.
Simpsons?
Yeah.
From seasons like 1 to 8?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
1
know.
to 10?
You mean until they killed it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? No.
Well, didn't they do King of the Hill? These are all old shows.
Yeah, these are all old shows. That
I don't know any current shows. I don't know.
People are going to say we're snobs for thinking this is stupid, but this is just sitcom shit. I hate daytime TV sitcom shit. Very rarely does it win me over. It's very difficult to do that.
I just can't believe this exists.
I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's not a bad show. Like, I always liked Tim Allen. Did you like Home Improvement? I've been meaning to go back. Me too. I was too young to really appreciate it. I've been meaning to go back and rewatch. There's 2 shows I wanted to rewatch from the 90s. Roseanne and Home Improvement. Both TV shows that were critically acclaimed that I was just too young to really get. I was a little too young that I was like, I'd rather watch cartoons. I wanted to watch like Batman and that shit. You know?
I don't think I really watched much of the sitcoms of the
right.
90s.
Like anytime, exactly. I didn't watch a lot of the sitcoms of the era, but I've also come to hate sitcoms in general. So yeah. Anyways, Last Man Standing, check it out. Highly recommend it. And on to my last.
All right.
This podcast is sponsored by the fine folks at Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys. Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys is your one-stop shop for everything cool and collectible. We are located in the heart of downtown Oshawa. That is Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. If you're looking for movies, video games, and toys, check us out. We are worth the drive. All right. My last pick, and we'll probably wrap up now because we're almost at 3 hours.
Why don't we just wrap up now?
Yeah,
I don't think we need to hear you.
I don't even fucking need to hear what I got to say. You will sit and you will listen. So my last pick is Poltergeist 2.
Oh, God.
What do you mean, oh, God? What do you know?
80s horror sequel.
Okay, seriously. What the fuck do you know? Before your comment,
right.
Hold on. It's not.
Right.
Where? I like you're like, oh God, what? Do you not like Poltergeist 1?
I mean, it's okay. I don't know.
Incorrect answer. Poltergeist 1 is a masterpiece. Moving on to Poltergeist 2.
Right.
So
masterpiece
of horror.
I mean, it's great special effects.
I'm putting Poltergeist up there with the best of them.
Oh, really?
I've rewatched it several times.
I need to watch it. I don't think I've watched it in like 10 years.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking masterpiece. I'm putting it up there with Exorcist.
Exorcist?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I'm putting it up there with Exorcist. In terms of a competently well-made film, like as a horror film, it's up there with the greats. Like, it's one of those ones that was competently well-made.
Right, bold takes.
Fucking Spielberg and Toby Hooper. I mean, like two directors at the top of their fucking game. Yeah.
I forget. So it was the Texas Chainsaw guy or no?
So it was a co-direction film. Yeah, I think
Did Spielberg co-directed with him?
I think. Let me confirm this because I don't want to talk out my ass. But so as far as I know, the story goes, Hooper was originally brought in to direct, and then the studio got
Oh shit.
Yeah, okay, so Toby Hooper is listed as the director. Spielberg is listed as one of the writers, but I'm certain that Spielberg ended up directing half the movie. It's not all Toby. Like, There's something about it. I don't want to talk too much out of my ass, but I know that Toby didn't direct the whole thing.
So Poltergeist 1, masterpiece.
Poltergeist 1's a masterpiece. We don't need to go on about Poltergeist.
No, yeah.
Do you even like
I
the
know
movie?
it's a classic. Yeah,
it's a classic for a
yeah.
reason. It's a classic for a reason.
I'm just, my reaction was just...
I'm hitting my mic. I'm getting so heated
My
here.
reaction is I'm so skeptical of like sequels to these like beloved movies.
Right.
Like,
And as you should be. Okay. So Poltergeist 2, aka Poltergeist 2, The Other Side.
They're back is the tagline.
Yeah, that's a good tagline. Okay, so plot of Poltergeist 1, very straightforward. A normal American family in a beautiful, simple suburb gets terrorized when it's discovered their home is possessed by poltergeists, which are basically evil ghosts.
Evil spirits. And
Evil
ghosts,
spirits.
yeah.
And they prey on the family, and then the little girl gets sucked into the other world or the other side, which is basically the spirit world. And then the family is forced to consult a psychic, which is, I think her name is Zelda. The character is Zelda or something like that.
I can't remember.
You're the little psychic woman who's like 4'6" or something.
Yeah.
She's one of the highlights of the original. She's just brilliant as that character. And they end up bringing the psychic girl back, and then it has one of the best finales in all of cinema. The house implodes on itself and blows up, and dead bodies start coming out of the ground. Skeletons start bursting from the earth, and then the family just fucks off and gets out of there. They all pile into their station wagon and peel off.
Yeah.
That's the end of Poltergeist. Where do you go for a sequel? I'm actually curious. What do you think they did? Because, and to be clear,
I've not seen this movie.
Yeah, you
Poltergeist
obviously.
2.
So I'm going to say this: Poltergeist has more than one sequel.
Well, I have questions. If you're going to ask me, like, so question number 1: are they using the same family?
It is the exact same family.
That is fascinating,
and it is the exact same actors. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I knew
because right away I would have gone different family. Different like setting, different. Like,
I didn't know where they were going to go with it either. I had the exact same thought. I thought, what do you do? Because Poltergeist 1 is kind of perfect. It is a haunted house film at its
and the
at
house
its most
is
basic.
gone by the end of the film,
right? And it ends
it's not like
with
you
an
could have
epic.
You can't have another family move into the house
same
and
house.
Be like, oh, we bought this house.
No,
we got a
the
great
house
deal.
is blown up.
Yeah,
it implodes at the end of the fucking movie.
So. It's the same family.
So it's the same actors too. Craig T. Nelson, the young girl who's played by.
How many years later?
I gotta quote her. Hold on a sec. Sorry, not quote her. I gotta get her actual the actress's name because she actually had a tragic death. Yeah, Heather O'Rourke. This girl right here. Who tragically died during the making of Poltergeist 3.
During the making of it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's actually she had like a really sad death. Yeah. Have you ever heard of like cursed films?
Yeah, like
you know what I'm talking about?
The Twilight Zone movie or things like that, where everything goes wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Exorcist was one of them, and there was actually a TV show called Cursed Films, and it was really good.
The idea is that during production everything goes wrong.
It's
and
about
people think
it's about bad shit that happened during the making of films.
Okay.
And Poltergeist is one of the most notorious one, where a bunch of people who were connected to the film all died.
Was that even during the original
even
film?
During
During
the original. Oh. Yeah. So
anyway,
so this girl, so Poltergeist 2, it's the exact same family.
A few years later,
the exact same cast. So Poltergeist 1, I believe, is I want to say 81. Let's see if I'm making that up. So Poltergeist 2 is 86. And
86.
What's your guess on Poltergeist 1?
81 or 82. It's going to be my guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Poltergeist 82.
82.
We were both, you got it.
Okay.
So it's 4 years later.
So the family, I'm going to guess.
I don't know in the movie if it takes place. I'm as far as I recall in the movie, it takes place. I don't think it's not like immediately the next day.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be a couple.
They're
couple
trying to
years
rebuild
after.
their lives somewhere else. I don't know where do they take it. They're just in a new town.
So that's my that's my
community.
question: is what do you think they use as the sequel? Where do you go knowing how self-contained the first movie is.
Where I would go is that because the daughter interacted with the spirit realm,
right.
is she now a conduit for ghosts?
You're
or
close.
spirits?
You're
like
close.
The Shining style?
Yeah,
like
you're
Danny,
close.
Where it's
Yeah,
like,
you're close to that. Yeah, so you're...
That would be my guess.
Right. So basic plot is it turns out that the evil presence that was underneath their home is actually a bigger evil presence than they originally thought. And the evil presence follows the family after they move.
Okay.
And they refer to it, I believe, as the Beast. And the Beast is like this evil, it was this evil guy from the 1900s. And he led a group of, it was a cult of doomsday. Like it was a doomsday cult.
Okay.
And he had all these followers, and he convinced people of like this doomsday, and then he ended up killing them all, including himself, so that he would essentially become like a superior spiritual being in the afterlife and have control over their souls.
Oh, God.
It's really dark. And then so he's almost like a super poltergeist in a sense. Like he's a powerful spiritual entity that has domain and control over other spirits. And he's trying to use the little girl, because the little girl is kind of like a bridge between the two worlds.
Okay.
He wants to use her as a way to get access to more spirits,
Oh, shit.
to get even more powerful.
That's a cool premise.
It is a cool
Yeah.
premise. So starts off with the family and their new life, and the old home, turns out, has a cavern underneath it.
Whoa, that's awesome.
And they go underneath the old home, and in the cavern, the psychic Zelda discovers there's an ancient evil here. Something's not right. And the evil in the first movie was actually this evil.
You're selling me on this. This actually sounds really cool.
So then,
Okay.
Zelda...
This could easily be cheesy, though.
I want to make sure
This
it's
could
Zelda. I want to make sure it's Zelda. Hold on a sec, because I don't want to because I like this character so much that I would feel Zelda. Tangina. Sorry, Zelda Rubinstein is the actress.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So Tangina, I could just say Zelda Rubinstein. So Zelda Rubinstein's character, the psychic, short psychic woman, she contacts her psychic friend to help the family while she's investigating. And
So we're watching her investigate the cavern, and we cut away to the family in a new town?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Who's trying to move on with their life.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same cast. All of the characters is fucking same from the first movie to the second one. Like father, mother, the son.
That's great.
It is great. I know it is great when that happens. And
When they can pull that off, yeah.
And I want to snap back here to Poltergeist 2. And I've got a list here of the actors I want to mention. Okay, so Zelda Rubinstein's character, because she's concerned about the family now, she realizes, she's like, oh shit, this ancient evil, it doesn't matter where the family moves. It wasn't the house. It wants
the
daughter
as like a conduit
right.
for souls.
Exactly.
Whatever, yeah.
So she contacts her Native American shaman friend, Will Sampson. Played by Will Sampson, who I think his name is Taylor in the movie.
Okay.
And he's played by the silent Native American in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, that guy's awesome.
That guy is awesome.
Yeah.
That guy is awesome. And he is fucking awesome in this movie. There he is right there. Yeah. Will Sampson. He is fucking awesome as like the stoic, like tall Native American that's like wise and knows more, than
he knows about like the dangers.
He knows
and the things
outside of the material. He knows things outside the material world to the interior, the ethereal world. So he gets sent by her to watch over and protect the family. The Beast has now left the previous residence and has now found the family in their new location. And it decides to take the form of a human. in order
All right.
to invade their house. And this is why you watch Poltergeist 2, for this performance right
So
here.
it's like a home invasion horror?
No.
Okay.
The beast takes the form of a preacher
Oh,
played by Julian Beck. And I'm going to just let me just bring this up.
okay.
This is the most iconic part of Poltergeist 2. And if you've ever seen any promotional shit for Poltergeist 2, it's this image that you would have seen. This performance is fucking incredible.
He's haunting.
He is haunting. This guy right here. Julian Beck is just he's perfect.
Oh yeah.
He is perfect as the evil preacher Cain. And his
face.
he just
like,
you don't have to do any makeup with this guy. He's already camera ready to just be a horrific.
to walk on set and
Yeah.
be like, yeah.
And all of his scenes are the best parts of this fucking movie. Like every scene he's in is incredible. His charisma, his on camera charisma is like 10 out of 10.
So he's lights out the whole movie.
He captures the entire movie. He never lets up. He literally commands every scene he's in. Every time he comes on camera, you're just like, oh shit. It's this, yeah.
Yeah.
His performance is so haunting. He perfectly captures this character.
That often makes a horror movie is like the villain, the antagonist.
It's the equivalent of like Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. He just is Freddy Krueger. He oozes that character. Julian Beck is the perfect villain in this fucking movie. And he is so haunting. And his delivery, look at the big evil smile.
The huge eyes,
He's
huge
got
evil smile.
Huge big bug eyes. And like this is the post. I'll see if I can bring up.
The big brimmed hat too, like the preacher like hat.
The design,
the
design for Cain is just so good. He's just so menacing looking this entire movie.
And I'm going to assume because of Poltergeist 1 being chock full of like special effects and practical effects and stuff, is this movie like a slideshow of like crazy like special effects and like
So the movie's 86, so thankfully most of the movie is practical. Still.
Nice.
Yeah, which is great. So sorry, I want to talk about Cain a little bit more because I just love this character so much.
How would you rank him in terms of 80s horror villains?
He's one of the best. He's just because it's all natural. The design, there we go. That's a really good shot right there. The design.
Well, it looks like at times they are using makeup on his face to accentuate parts of it.
The design, he's got these big eyes that light up and they're kind of sunken back into his head. He looks very unnatural. And
he's skeletal.
And he's also got this huge grinning smile that he puts on. And the way he talks is very controlled like this. He doesn't need to raise his voice to intimidate you. You don't need to be afraid of me, child. And he's just haunting. That's the perfect way of describing this performance. It's haunting. It's shit. This guy's amazing. This is why you should watch the movie. The movie's not great. I know. I just sold it, making it sound like it's a 9 out of 10.
Sold me
I know.
As if it's like one of the greatest.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not in my collection.
It's not in your collection.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not collection worthy. It's a solid 7 out of 10. It's worth watching, but it's not amazing. No, the third act really drags. Unfortunately,
you fucker. You're so good.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, it is.
You hyped me up.
The elements in it are fucking awesome. Watch it. I'm saying watch it.
I'll watch
it.
Yeah.
Don't not watch it. He's incredible. Watch it just for him.
Okay.
And there's a really sad thing about him. He was actually dying of stomach cancer when they filmed this. He died.
Oh.
He died before the movie even got released.
Oh my God.
I know,
Okay.
it is sad.
That is
and they
sad,
had to
yeah.
recast him in the third movie. And you want to hear something really dark? This was on the episode of Cursed Films I watched about this movie. They made a death mask of him and used that as the mask for the guy who played him in the third movie.
Oh my God.
That's dark as shit.
That is
right?
really dark.
Yeah, I know. That's dark. When they also use stand-ins for the girl in the third movie. I am definitely watching the third movie because the third movie also has some crazy interesting things. I got to give Poltergeist 2 and 3. This is why I fucking love 80s movies. Is if I could just gush about the 80s for a second.
Go for it.
It's all practical. Most of it's practical. And the shit that is CG, it's not really CG. It's like optical effects. You know what I mean? Like the way they did beams and energy blasts. And it's all light. They're all playing with the film cell. It's fucking
Predator.
awesome. It's fucking awesome. The effects are fucking awesome. The cinematography, it looked so fucking good at that time. It's just so bright, vibrant. All the images, all the shit from that time, when you put it on Blu-ray or 4K, it just pops off your fucking screen. None of it's washed out. It's all vibrant. It's all shot on film. It's all shot on sets, for fuck's sakes. They don't use
they
green
built
scheme.
real sets.
They build sets. They built elaborate things, and they fucking took chances. This is why people love 80s horror, is they went for things.
They swung for the fences every time.
Right.
With
Like-
every idea. Yeah.
Like something like Poltergeist 2 and even Poltergeist 3. Each one of those has something to offer. They tried to do things. They tried to bring you new shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying every sequel out of the 80s is great. I'm just saying like that is so characteristic of that time where I can go, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is fucking awesome. It's debatably better than the first one. I can go Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is balls to the wall, it's nuts, and it's the 80s sequel to the old 70s one. Like, Friday the 13th Part 6 is amazing, even though it's the sixth fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
they
see what you're
went
saying.
for shit, even though it was like, they could have just phoned it in, and sometimes they did, but often they didn't. And this is a good time. This is a good example. Where like they fucking go for it.
Yep.
The problem with it is the third act drags, and it becomes very like they're kind of just making shit up. Where it's like, no, we actually have to do this to stop the evil. No, we got to do this to stop the evil.
They didn't know how to end the...
It's not very tight. It's not very tight on its script isn't very tight. The performances in it are great. It does retread a lot of the same territory as the first movie, unfortunately. But there's some cool callbacks. So like in the second movie, there's no televisions in the house.
Oh,
Because they know.
Yep.
So they're like, so there's no television. So that's like a clever thing.
That's clever.
Yeah. There's cool things like that. Great performances by everyone involved. Julian Beck steals the movie in my opinion, but Zelda Rubinstein is always amazing. And the Native American Will Sampson is incredible as Taylor. He's so good.
I'll be watching it. I'll give it a watch.
Give it a watch. Honestly, give it a
absolutely.
watch. The first 30 minutes of this movie are fucking amazing. The first like half hour is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then like the first 30 minutes are like 8, 9 out of 10. And then the middle part is probably like 7, 7.5. And then the last part's probably like 5 to 6 out of 10. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You want something different from the 80s for horror? Give Poltergeist 2 a chance. Honestly, I wrote it off for fucking years. Like seriously.
I'm surprised this is like, so this is the first time you watched it.
First time I've ever watched it. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, and I'm definitely watching Poltergeist 3 now.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if they're not great films overall, I would take them any day over 99% of the shit in theaters right now because they're creative and inventive and they're fucking fun watches.
Mm-hmm.
And they may not be masterpieces and they may not end up going in my collection, but I fucking enjoy watching them. I had a blast watching this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast watching this. So there you go.
Cool.
Ended on a high note.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't recommend anything this episode.
Yeah, I think everything was a recommendation, a hearty recommendation.
Except the terror. The terror sucks. No, I'm
Terror's
just
pretty
kidding. yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay.
That's not.
All right, well, so we should go back through, though, and see what you recommended and what I recommended.
So I just recommended Pearl. Definitely if you like horror movies or just want to see like one of the greatest performances in the last couple of years. Watch Pearl and Mia Goth in that movie. And then I also recommended a French, a French anime cartoon show called Lastman, and is very cool.
Not to be confused with Last Man Standing with Tim
Yes.
Allen. But also we are recommending Last Man Standing with Tim Allen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also recommended The Terror.
Yep. I like The Terror.
I mean, I recommend it.
But I agree with your take that
it
would be interesting to see a movie version.
I think it needs to be cut down, so you don't go into it unless you are willing to watch a slow burn TV show.
So that was sort of a recommendation, but
I didn't say don't go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've honestly forgot everything that I've already talked about here, but
you talked about
Poltergeist 2, definitely watch.
You talked about the Robin Williams movie.
The Birdcage.
Birdcage, you recommended.
That's a recommend watch.
Breakaway.
Breaking Away is amazing. Give it a watch. Bad News Bears. Watch it if you want that. If you like 70s cheesy comedy. Like, not cheesy, but I don't even want to use the word goofball, but goofball comedies, I guess. You know? And if you're not into that, don't watch it. Slumdog Millionaire, absolutely watch. Definitely worth a watch. The fuck else did I talk about? Did I talk about anything else?
We talked about a lot of stuff.
I talked about X, but that was your...
Yeah.
I mean, watch
X, too.
Well, X is definitely worth a watch. That's what I mean. I can't think of anything I'm not recommending. I would say Terror is the only thing that I was not a huge fan of.
You didn't finish it.
I didn't finish it. I got to like episode 3 or 4. So I didn't like The Terror, but I could see why people would like it. Like, I'm not shitting on The Terror.
No.
I recognize it was very well made.
Yeah.
It's just, I found it dry and boring. But if what we described sounds like your cup of tea,
by all means,
absolutely go for it. And then, I don't know, is that everything we talked about?
And then Poltergeist 2.
Talked about Birdcage, Breaking Away, Bad News Bears, Slumdog Millionaire, Poltergeist 2,
X and Pearl,
The Terror. I feel like there was one
Last
more
Man.
fucking show I talked about. What are we forgetting? What if there's one more and it's like because we're not mentioning it, people aren't going to know whether or not we're actually recommending it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything.
Whether we did or whether we didn't,
No.
I don't care anymore. See, the problem is, as I was talking to you, I was deleting shit off my list. So that's why I'm
wait till after we're done the episode.
I'm literally going to have to go into the editing bay and be like, oh, it was that.
Yeah.
But I can't remember anything. I think that's everything, because it was like the 2 70s movies, the Slumdog, the 190s movie. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even think we may not have even been recording this whole time.
Honestly, of everything we talked about, I'm most excited to watch Last Man Standing.
Oh, the Tim Allen.
Oh, absolutely.
Bloodsport anime.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got 3 daughters, and together they can open a portal to the other world. Yeah. That's show.
All right.
And we will end it there.
We'll end it
folks.
there, folks. Yeah.
That's
All right.
zap.